Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Boredom Podcast where I go live because I'm bored. This is a special presentation because I'm joined by Lori's World, soon to
Hi,
be
all.
also having Triple T on, and possibly a friend of mine from real life. And we are discussing growing up in a military family, the ins, the outs, the ups and downs, and everything in between. As of now, I don't see anybody in the chat, but
Hmm.
we'll give it a few minutes to let people come in and just start talking about shit. Because I was born and raised in the Air Force family. My dad was career Air Force for 20 20 20 years or 21 years, I think. Hard to remember back that far. And as soon as we start getting people here, then I'll tell a little bit of my backstory and let y'all give y'all's backstory too. Hey, Victoria. Welcome to the special episode of the Boredom Podcast where we're talking about growing up in a military family.
I'm not picking you back up, you little chunky monkey.
Hey, Kobe.
You just be quiet.
Welcome to any and everybody that's joining to watch the podcast. We're going to be discussing growing up in the military family. We're just waiting for people to file in before we start talking about it.
I am not picking you up.
That's funny, Doom.
I guess I am picking him up. I guess I will pick him up so he'll shut up. Up, come on, you little short, chunky monkey. Come on. Up. You better not bark to get down again. Your dad can get you down. Tim should have hit the link. Give me a minute. I gotta take care of him.
Understood. Hey, Doom, we could call it Bedbugs Podcast.
Now I'm on my phone, so if I give way because of my phone, that's it. And like I said, I'll be glad to do another night too for you. You do a second night.
Understood. It's all gravy.
Hey, Kobe, how you doing? See, we got Just Doom, we got
Yep.
Kobe, we got Victoria. How you guys doing?
Appreciate y'all coming through.
All right, let me get Tim the link
Cool.
just in case. Let's see. Mm.
Hello, Triple T. Welcome to the Boredom Podcast where I go live because I'm bored. However, this is a special episode where we're talking about growing up in a military family. Waiting for more people to join, but we got a few in here. Doom, Victoria, Kobe fan.
You awake, Lori?
She was.
Lori.
I think she walked away from her phone to get the dogs or something.
I had to walk away for a minute, ding dong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I don't wait for
There
a
you go.
minute. Now.
Gotta love
And he
married
said he had
couples.
to wait a few minutes.
Hmm.
I don't like doing panels with him. He tries to hog the attention. Panel hog.
Hmm.
See, I was about to call you Adam Calhoun.
All right, Tom.
By the way, it was a great live, Tim.
Oh, I'm fucking you up.
Ooh, is that a promise?
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. Hey, Jason. The infamous Jason JV in the house.
All
Oh,
right, JJ.
and by the way, Tim, I was telling Lori, right after you ended your live and right before I started mine, Ethic the God dropped a diss track on Mocon.
Who did?
Ethic the God.
Really?
Yep. I went and listened to it before the live. It's fire. Jason in there being funny. And like I said, we're just letting people find the live. Hey, Triple. Hey, Killer B. We're just chilling right now. We're waiting for people to find the live and come in and get comfortable before we start the podcast.
Thank you, Victoria.
Shout out y'all for coming through. Shout out to my panel guests. Tim just had a really long live, so that was a good one. But we're here now to discuss growing up in a military family. If anybody in the chat also grew up in a military family, just give a shout out and I'll drop a link for y'all to join. Everybody else, please, respect that this is only for those that have grown up in a military family, so we can discuss the ups, downs, in and outs of growing up in a military family. For those that don't know, I was born in a military family. My father joined the Air Force during Vietnam. He got stationed to Turkey and Thailand during the altercation. So for I'd say the first 5 to 10 years, I didn't even know my father except for through home movies that he'd send and audio tapes, which you know is kind of rough, but you know we do what we got to do. Appreciate that, Killaby. He started out as a Air Force military police, and then had several different jobs after I was born because me and my brothers were born because he did not want to be in the constant line of fire, so he started taking more desk jobs. He worked for what they call prime beef, which was the people that send people for training and all that. And when we moved to Japan, he was a deputy director of family support. and eventually he retired as a flight chief, I believe. But he had two jobs when we were leaving from Japan. We moved to South Carolina, and one of the jobs they got rid of the position before he got there, so he had another job that was just on paper, and then finally settled into the final job he had working on the flight line. Um, we moved around a lot, but luckily my parents usually tried to make it during the summer when we were out of school, so we didn't have to uproot from school and move to a new school during the school year. So we had time to adjust. Hey,
So
clown.
what's your day been like, Jay?
What?
What's your day been like?
Oh, it's been all right. I've been chilling and relaxing. My foot's healing from my toe amputation. I went to wound care yesterday, and they said that it's healing. It's just taking a long time because of where it is. They took my big toe because I had a infected blister, and
They rejected.
because of my diabetes, and they took the toe. So it's been all wrapped up, and I go every Tuesday for physical therapy. Well, not physical therapy, but wound care.
Hey, the toe knows.
Yep. So
Why are
I'm
you
part of that.
losing your toe?
I lost my toe because I had an infected blister.
He
What?
just said it, Tim. He
Hmm.
just said it. He's diabetic, so wounds don't heal right, so it gets infected.
Okay, I didn't hear that part. Damn, excuse me.
Well, take
It's
your
all
fingers
good.
out your ears. Take your fingers out your ears. It ain't
Look
all
here.
gravy.
Look here, woman.
What am I looking at? I can't see you. You look.
All right, y'all. Don't. We just got off a live where there was beef. We don't need more. But yeah,
It's
that's just a little.
crazy.
But that's just a little bit about me and my background to begin with.
Yeah, but his background is he has an only 9 toes.
Yep. And my father's
My
retired
background,
Air Force. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been stuck with Tim for 27 years. That's all you need to know.
Oh, you've been stuck with me? Okay.
The first 20 were okay. The last 20, the next 20, yeah, I've been stuck.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
But you love me.
That is true.
No, I grew up military. My dad and my stepdad. My grandfather. I have a whole history of military. My ex-husband, my husband, and myself. So I've been both sides, Army
Right.
spouse and the veteran too.
Right.
Tim, your history.
So my
He's
dad
Adam
served.
Calhoun.
Do what?
None. Nothing, honey.
Hmm. No, my dad was. He served 30 years. Everybody in my family was either police officers or military. Everybody in my there's been someone in my immediate family has fought in every American conflict dated back to the American Revolutionary War all the way up to present.
Nice.
Um, my two older brothers served in the military. My little brother served in the military. His wife served in the military. Growing up, military brat. You know, been to Germany as a kid. Traveled up and down the East Coast as a kid. Been to different schools. So yeah,
Right.
but you know what? I enjoyed it. I
Oh
enjoyed being a
yeah.
military brat.
Same. I wear that as a badge of honor when they call me a military brat because it means that I went through stuff that nobody else did.
Matter of
I mean,
fact,
I.
there's
Some
a
people think.
Mm,
Go ahead,
there's a
Jay.
There's an artist named Knuckles Rap who did a song called Military Brat. You should check it out.
Oh yeah, love that song.
Some people think it's an insult when a reporter says self-proclaimed army brat or military brat. All that means is when a reporter says self-proclaimed, it means that I personally told the reporter, that the reporter's letting the readers know that I put it out there, not them. Because a lot of civilians don't know the term brat, what it means.
Right. And then with me growing up, I was always referred to as a GI brat, and I know that some people kind of see that derogatory or as a slight here or there or whatever. But again, like I said, I use it as a term of endearment.
It's crazy. And you grew up what branch, Jay? Army? Air Force?
Air, Air Force. My dad
Okay,
was
so
Air
you had a
Force.
different.
My dad was Air Force. My dad's dad was Army, and my mom's dad was Navy. And my mom's dad actually was in Pearl Harbor when it was bombed during World War II as a engine mechanic for a ship. Survived that and died
Right?
years later of cancer.
That's crazy. I've been lucky. Both my
Mhm.
parents are still alive.
Same, same for me. I was born in Minot, North Dakota. My parents were from New Jersey, where they were high school sweethearts. My dad actually knew my mom before they had gotten married because he used to hang out with her brothers. And my mom's from a family of 6 kids, and my dad was an only child. But like I said, he volunteered to join the Air Force during Vietnam so he wouldn't be drafted, and ended up stationed in North Dakota where I was born. And then almost a year later, maybe it was 9 months after I was born, he got stationed to Turkey and Thailand. But we've lived in North Dakota, New Jersey, Virginia, Dover, Delaware, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Biloxi, Mississippi, where I'm currently at, Japan at Fusa or Yokota Air Force Base in Japan, Sumter, South Carolina, and then back here where he retired. Yep, we lost Lori.
She'll come back.
Yeah, there she is.
I'm back. This damn
Welcome
phone.
back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sometimes the phone will kick you.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Hey,
So, how many
Killer
places
B.
have each of y'all lived at growing up?
I lived in, let's see, Kentucky, Germany, Michigan, uh, Tennessee, California. That's it with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we were lucky to get wherever we stayed, we were there at least 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. And then Tim, after you tell where you all lived, was wondering what was the longest base y'all stayed at growing up.
I see. We were at Fort Dix. Fort Gordon was in Germany, um, Maryland. Longest place I ever stayed was Fort Dix.
How long?
4 years.
Nice.
See, my longest, um, as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
would be Germany. 4.5 years in Germany was our longest.
Yeah, we were stationed at Dover, Delaware for 6.5, and that's the longest while I was a kid. But my dad retired down here in Mississippi, and we did like 4 years here while I was a kid, and then moved to Japan, South Carolina, and back where when my dad retired because they had had a house before they left for Japan, and they were gonna try to sell it and couldn't sell it, so we moved back here, and we've been here for shit almost 30 years now.
Wow. Me
Yep.
and Tim have been at Fort Polk area now since '06. No, '07.
Cool.
So 17 years old. Yeah, 17 years. This is the longest I've ever been in one spot, and it kills me sometimes.
Oh yeah, I get that too. When I first moved out of my parents' house, I went from uh, apartment to apartment every like 2 years until I got married, and even then we moved a couple of times, and then I moved back
Right?
in with my folks, after my divorce. Did you get that wandering fever being a military brat? You don't like staying in one place for too long, even if you are in the one place.
I love traveling every 2 to 3 years. I don't like being solitary. I like being able to reinvent yourself and start fresh and meet new friends and start fresh.
Right,
I'm all about the traveling. It's the settling down that just gets to me.
right.
So, what you doing, Tim?
Listen to y'all talk.
Well,
Tim's eating dinner
talk.
because he
You
just
take
finished
care.
a like 9 hour live, so we got to cut him some slack.
Hey, Doom. Doom has a marriage proposal for you, Jay.
I, I
Hey,
saw
Sam Squad.
Doom's been
Oh.
trolling me with that stuff. Hey,
I
Misty.
like his kind of trolling.
Yeah, Doom's good people.
Yeah. He makes it that even if there's a lot of homophobes in the area,
Hmm.
yourself.
Right,
He makes it so fun that you find yourself laughing with him, and seen him disarm a lot of homophobes.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And that's another thing with growing up in a military family. You meet so many different types of people that you can't hate anybody unless, of course, it's for a specific reason, like they disrespected you or what have you. But you get along with so many different people, at least in my experience. Y'all find that too?
Yes.
So welcome to everybody that's kind of late. We're doing a growing up in the military family podcast, talking about the ups and downs and ins and outs. Now, what's one thing growing up in a military family that either you missed out on or that um, annoyed you about being in that military family? Me, it made me hard to make friends because I never knew when I was going to move around. Did y'all hear?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay. Lori,
What?
did you hear the question?
Nope. I'm sorry.
I was asking, what's one thing that you missed out on growing up in the military family that you either missed out on or kind of annoyed you with living in that military lifestyle?
I think it's the two sides of the coin. What I liked about it too was also the bad thing is establishing those roots with friendships to
Right.
long term.
Yeah, that's the same thing that I'm saying because in real life or offline, I should say, I'm kind of shy and or very quiet and reserved, and a lot of people mistake that for being scared or put offish or what, or thinking that I'm better than somebody when I'm not. I'm very socially awkward because I never knew how long I was going to move around, and it stuck with me my whole life.
I totally agree because it's hard. You try to establish yourself and you finally make because it seems like you can make one special friend wherever you go in an army base. And as you guys are getting that intimacy going, that special friendship bond, all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're gonna have to cut, you can't take everything, pick what you want, and
Hmm.
let's go.
Yep. I also find that I live a very minimalistic lifestyle from living in the military because I didn't want to pack a lot of shit when I had to move. Y'all find that too? Hi, Meg.
Hey, Meg.
So, Lori, do you find that you growing up in a military family that you lived a minimalistic lifestyle because you never knew how long you were going to be somewhere? I feel like my guests are distracted right now.
No, it's just been
Yeah,
a
I'm still
long,
here.
like I said, it was just driving. For me, it's been a long day. The when you're driving, the road just kind of hypnotizes you.
Right.
So that's all that it is. It's nothing else. Hey, sister. So, but
Welcome, Meg. Welcome, Sam Squatch, and everybody else watching.
and Tim's eating, so he's always got something in his mouth.
Right. That's another thing.
Tammy,
That's another thing that I
Tammy.
loved about the military lifestyle is you got to experience so many different cultures and cuisines and everything else.
Yes, and languages and how people dress.
Hmm.
But we always seem to be behind on the music, the fashion, because you get used to being somewhere and you get somewhere else, and all of a sudden they've already moved past where you're at.
Exactly.
Tim, he is distracted.
All
I'm
right.
gonna
Yeah.
he muted his
I
mic.
was
Let
on
me
the.
go check.
I was on the. I'm on the right here.
Oh, all
All
right.
good.
I was on the phone with Tyler.
All good.
Tyler who?
Apple Tyler.
Alpha.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was coming up as an army or a military brat.
No, I don't. I didn't know that he was or wasn't. He never talked with me about it.
I thought
No,
he
I had to
was. I
do.
could be
I had
wrong.
to do a quick troll real quick. Old Beast Boys over there playing my video, so I
Oh,
privated it. I privated it, and he's over there. Oh, they took it down. They took it down, and then I made it public. And I was like, "What are you talking about? It's still up." Fucking idiot.
That's another thing about growing up in the military. We have great but sometimes dark senses of humor.
Well, that's a lot of people don't understand
Mhm.
because military kids they grow they grow up around soldiers, so
Mhm.
they understand how soldiers talk.
Mhm.
They have that old soul in a young body
Mhm.
because you know when our parents have their friends come around, we're around that lifestyle. So
Mhm.
when we get out into the civilian world and get around kids our own age, we always act more mature than they do because it's just the way we were raised.
Right.
And we're not shy. We can't be shy because when you're thrown in as the new kid in the middle of a school year, so it's like me, I'm blunt. And I know that a lot of guys, they don't like, they're like, women don't talk like you. Well, how many women do you know that served their country or who also was around? There was only 10 women in my unit. Plus,
Right.
I grew up in a military community where, we don't get embarrassed. We heard our parents talking and stuff like that. We have no filters and we're very confident because when you have to go in and start fresh as a new kid, you better walk in like you own that damn school, like you belong there.
Well, see, I have the opposite. I'm very shy and reserved because I always kept my head down and didn't disrupt the status quo, so to speak, whenever I moved to a new place. Even though they'd try to, put me out front saying, "Hey, we have a new student. Tell us about yourself." I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm Jay," and it is what it is.
Wow. See, I'm like the opposite. I'm like, yeah, this is my school. You bitches are gonna like me, and you ain't got a choice, or we're gonna do this, or that's just how I always was. I just the confidence, even when you're not, you learn to be confident.
Mm. Hey,
And
Vinny.
that's just how I was. Hey, Vinny, I was also being the firstborn, so I was the oldest. So it
Oh,
was my
yeah, I
job
was
to
too.
look after my siblings. I had to make sure that nobody messed with them, and it was my job. And everything that you do reflects on your father's career or your mother's career. So there was no smoking, there was no drugs, there was no sneaking off and going to parties. We lived on base as a military, ritual where there were bedtimes, there were strict guidelines. And so
Yep.
to me, school and my social life was my freedom. And so, I got to make the most of it and be outgoing and blunt and, freak people out and, but also learn to keep people at a distance too.
Right. And that was the hard part about making friends for me was never knowing when we were going to move or whatever, but I did make friends everywhere. It's just I was very like I said, I'm kind of shy in person and I'm very reserved. I like to listen more than talk, and that kind of comes through also in my lives because I prefer having people that I can bounce off of to talk to. And
Right.
one of the things that really annoyed me growing up, but I'm glad I learned it, was hospital corners on making your bed. Because, like I said, my dad was Air Force, and he had a regiment that he went through. Even to this day, after he retired, he has a certain breakfast that he eats. He wants lunch at a certain time. He wants dinner at a certain time.
Lori came out here to distract me, Jay. I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good.
Let me
I was
ask you
just
this. Let
uh
me
huh.
ask you this.
Okay.
When you
Why do I get
was it
blamed
was
for
it
everything?
was it hard for you to transition from school to school?
Well, I had said earlier, I was
We were
lucky in the
just talking
fact
about that.
I was lucky in the fact that um, my parents always tried to make sure that when we moved, it was during the summer, so the transition was easier on us from school to school. But middle of my sophomore year, when we moved to Japan, I had to uproot in the middle of the year and go to the new school in Japan, and it was on the military base. And the school did, I want to say it was fourth or fifth through 12th grade. So that was a culture shock for me.
And that's another thing. All of our schools were mostly on military bases. So we were kind of sheltered from civilian kids. But for me, when we went to Tennessee in Clarksville, all the schools were off base.
Right,
So for me, my freshman year, I was no longer in a military classroom on school, with other Army kids. I mean, we had Army kids, but we were also at Fort Campbell, we had civilians. So I'm off post, and you had to be these are kids that have all been to school together since kindergarten, most of them, because they're civilians.
right.
And here you're coming in, and they're like, oh, another military kid. They won't be here long and stuff like that. So they didn't want to get close to you. You have to come in owning that shit. If you don't own it, you get eaten alive in some of these schools. And
Right.
Clarksville was pretty rough. I don't know how many people there. I've noticed there are a lot of people from Clarksville, and that's where I went to high school. That's where I graduated.
I just posted the link. If I know you, then and you grew up in a military family, feel free to hop up into the panel. If not, please respect that the panel is for people that were born and raised in a military family.
Hey, Tyler. Hey,
What
Amanda.
up, Alpha? Hey,
Tyler,
Amanda.
he ended his stream, Tyler.
Hey, Jiminator. How you doing? Sam Squatch.
Yes, hello, Geminator, and everybody else that just joined. Amanda, Nelson, and uh, Meg, and everybody.
Sister.
I
Now,
just got a
when I
text
was
from
growing up,
Erica. Huh?
half of the schools that I went to were off base because we went to public schools, but half of them were on base. So
Yep.
I had
And
a
it's still that
mixture of
way
that.
today. It's
Hmm.
just now you get elementary and middle school are usually on base, and high school is civilian. So it's a culture shock for a lot of military kids going to school just military and then going into the civilian. It's a little bit rougher kind of life.
Oh yeah, when I moved to Mississippi, we had to go to the public school off base, and there were cliques and everything, and there were a lot of locals that hated the military kids. I
Yep.
don't exactly know why, other than they were military kids, but
Because we didn't stay long. We kept every time they'd get to know us, they would leave. We would leave.
yeah, but
And I'm sorry.
I
And we
will say
didn't
this
grow up.
though.
We didn't
Go
grow
mhm,
ahead.
up with them.
right. Go ahead, Tim.
If I had to do my life all over, if I had a choice to be a military brat or not be a military brat, I would pick being a military brat every single time.
Me
Right,
too.
same.
I love it. And I love the life we gave our kids. People are like, "Oh, well, you chose." No, my parents chose to be military, and then I chose to do it based on the life I lived. I loved that life, and I have a child. Our both our boys went military, and our girls chose not to, and it's just a choice.
Yeah, me and my
But I
two
would
brothers
redo
all
it.
tried to join, but I was overweight, so they didn't take me. And whenever they were ready to take me, I had specific jobs in mind that I wanted, and they wouldn't give them to me, so I didn't join. One of my brothers joined the Navy and got kicked out in boot camp because he was reading his Bible, and they got called to attention. He laid his Bible down on his bed instead of in his footlocker. The drill walked up, threw his Bible down the hallway, called him some kind of name for having his stuff not in his locker, and then walked into his office. My brother looked at the Bible, looked at him, looked at the Bible, broke rank, walked into his office behind him, closed the door, and the drill says, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "You throw my Bible again, I'll kill you. You call me that name again," because he said something to him in Spanish. He goes, "I'll hurt you." He goes, "You're crazy." He goes, "Try me." He's like, "Go to psycho eval," and they drummed him out of the Navy on a psycho eval. My middle brother, that was my youngest brother. My middle brother went to join the army and was wanting to go special forces and got a girlfriend before joining, and ended up getting himself kicked out because he wanted to be with his girlfriend.
Wow. I love my military background. I love it, and it was something I encouraged my kids to do too.
hmm Amanda, if you lived in the military lifestyle, that's all that I ask. It doesn't matter if it was parents, grandparents, or what have you. It's all about the experience growing up in the military family. So if you want to join, feel free to hit the link.
I don't know. I
If
love
you
it,
needed
and I
some,
wouldn't change it.
yeah, same. I got to experience a lot of things that normal people never experience, like moving to a foreign country and experiencing a different culture. That was one of my favorite times. And Victoria, if you want to join the panel and tell your experiences, just and need the link, just let me know. I'll drop it in the chat again. Goes for anybody that was raised in a military family that I know, at least. Because I don't know how to do overlays and all that kind of stuff. So I keep it to people that I know. But yeah, culture shock is a thing. Even going from state to state, you get a bit of culture shock. Because I remember being in school and being up north and learning about like the Civil War and stuff, and then moving out west and learning different facts about the Civil War, and then coming down south and learning even more different facts about the Civil War. No, Jason, this is just about growing up in a military family. Sorry. Now I may open it up to people that I know that have questions here soon. It also all depends on our panel, because, like I said, I know Tim had a long live and uh, Lori had a long drive. It's cool, Victoria. Are y'all okay with me opening up to everybody?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'll go ahead and I'll drop the link again, and Jason can pop up if he wants. Sad to hear, Meg. But yeah, anybody I know that wants to hop up, feel free to hit the link, especially if you have questions about growing up in a military family. And that includes you, Jason. It's all right, Meg. Jason and I banter like this all the time. Both of y'all still here? I'm sorry if there's a lot of silence.
I'm just reading the chat.
Cool.
Mm.
Yeah, you, Amanda? Well, wait. I thought I let her on. There we go. That you, Amanda? Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, everybody. Yeah,
Hello. What's going on?
I think the craziest time was when I was really, really young, and um, Norton Air
Mhm.
Force Base was in its last year of running
Mhm.
in San Bernardino.
Mhm. Go on.
I hardly ever saw my grandma and grandpa during that time. I was always left with an
And
aunt.
Foster said the only experience he has when his dad's story.
Yep. Yeah. That's the hardest part is when the parent that's in the military is stationed away from y'all on a remote, or they go TDY or go to trainings or whatever. Did y'all ever have any of that experiences with your parent going away and then coming back, and it's like they always want to bring you something from where they go?
Yeah. But see, but I had a weird experience though.
Mhm.
Like my dad and
Mhm.
my godfather, Wayne G. Wright,
Mhm.
he rest in
Mhm.
peace. For the first 18 years of their military career, they followed each other.
Mhm.
So they went to basic training together. They went to Vietnam together. They were drill sergeants together. They were in the same companies. So whenever we PCS, the Wright family would PCS. Whenever the Wright family PCS, the Faust family PCS. So I thought it was normal that
Mhm.
whenever we went to a different place, they would follow us. Well, when we got stationed in New York at Fort Hamilton,
Mhm.
and the Wright family got stationed at Fort Stewart, I was like, "Where's Tammy at?" Because Tammy Wright was the same age as me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Where are they at?" And my parents had to set me down and explain to me that they went to a different duty station, and I was like really confused because I thought that we all fucking like traveled together. We were stationed together. We went to the same schools together. And then one day we weren't. So that was kind of like a shell shock for me.
Right. Yeah. That's that culture shock that I was talking about that we all go through. I didn't have that, but like I said, moving from state to state and even into foreign countries, there's culture shock that you have to get used to.
Now I know you're the same age as me. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Did your dad ever bring home sea rats?
No.
You never had sea rations?
Oh, no, no, no. MREs, yeah, he did.
Not MREs, the sea
Oh.
rats, the ones in the cans.
Oh, no, no, no. He never brought the canned stuff.
Well, see, I remember eating those as a kid. We used to go camping all the time. And you
Right.
get the peanut butter used to come in like a little tin can about the size of a hockey puck.
Right.
And it was thick as a hockey puck and about as big as round as a hockey puck. And that was peanut butter. And
Yeah.
they also had 3 Lucky Strike cigarettes in each
Yep.
canteen.
Yep.
Um, you
I've
had your
seen
blue
them. I never actually tried any of those, but I've seen them
the sea
because
rat.
of,
The sea
yeah,
rats
my,
are 100 times better than the MREs. 100
yeah,
times better.
right. My dad's dad, being Army, had some of them, and every now and then when we'd visit, he'd pull them out and threaten us to have to eat them, and we'd be like, no, 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 no.
You had your cans of peaches.
Hmm.
You had cans of pound cake would come in a tin
Yep.
can. That shit was good. You had your beanie weenies, pork and beans with weenies in it. That
Hmm.
was a big dish. You had
Right.
spaghetti in a can. Man, we used to love. I used to love as a kid going camping, and my dad would always bring a case of sea rats with us out of the supply room, and that's what we ate on
Hmm.
every time we went camping. That shit was good.
Now, see, when we went camping, my dad would get the MREs, and a lot of people hate on the MRE,
I
but
can't stand them.
they've gotten better over the years. But
They
I
have.
get where people come from on it because the early days they were nasty as hell, but lately they've gotten better.
I would tell you, my last deployment in 2006, I didn't eat one MRE the whole time I
Right.
was. I literally would live off the food that Lori would send me through in the mail, which was
Hmm.
basically pokey bait, beef jerky, gummy bears. Um,
Junk food.
yeah, basically junk food. That's what I lived on.
Yep.
I refused to eat MRE. Lori,
Hmm. Think she fell asleep.
let me call her.
It's all good.
She's pulling a square.
Well, she told me that she might do that. Yes, Victoria.
Well, she is knocked out.
Yep.
Let me go get her. I'll be right back.
All right. And if you need to, you can tell her to just end and go to sleep. She had a long drive today going to Texas and back. That's why she came in late to Tim's live. But if y'all have any questions, also feel free to drop them in the chat so that we can discuss. Because I love talking with people instead of to people.
Hey, Amanda.
Right? It's all good. If you need to go and get your sleep, that's cool.
I am sorry, guys.
No, it's all good.
I I'm used to my doctors being once a month on Thursday, but my doctor got behind and he swapped it till tonight. And right after a weekend with the baby, my insomnia is full blown. So when it hits me hard. And so, but this is a good panel. And like I said, you do another one, I will definitely be on there for you.
Understood. It's all
But
good.
now you can bring up other people because otherwise Tim's going to talk your ear off.
Oh, I don't mind, but yeah, I'll post the link in the
Tim.
chat again.
I'm here.
All right. All love and thanks, Jay, for having me up. Sorry, I didn't mean
You're
to fall
welcome. It's
asleep.
okay. No, it's okay. I understand. Like I said, you need to go to sleep. Go ahead. I don't want to keep you.
Yes,
But
mate. There's gonna
another
be
one,
a
I'll
pop quiz.
definitely do this.
Amanda asked, "What was our favorite place to stay?" Mine was in Japan. I loved living over there and the culture and everything about it.
Well, that's the thing. When I was a kid living in Germany, it was a big culture shock coming back to the States
Oh yeah.
because you get used to living that European lifestyle. And when you come back to the States, it's totally different. Like when it comes to like fashion, United
Mm-hmm.
States, not United States is like 6 to 9 months behind in fashion.
Right.
When it comes to the latest gadgets,
Mm-hmm.
the United States is 6 to 9 months behind because
Oh
overseas
yeah.
gets it all first.
Oh yeah.
So when you come back and everybody's like, "Oh man, did you see this?" I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? We've had that a long time ago. What do you mean? It just came out. Not in Germany, it didn't. So
Now
it's hard for.
the only thing that the U.S. was behind on, besides the gadgets and stuff, or I should say, other countries were behind on because they are more advanced in fashion and technology, is the American television shows.
Yeah.
Because you get back to the States after being overseas, and it's like people are talking about shows that you'd never even heard of, because living on base overseas, you get reruns of older shows.
Well, not only that, you don't have commercials
Right, that too. I was gonna
over
say.
there. You get uh, Armed Forces Network as your only TV station.
Yep,
You only get one station, and the commercials are what the military makes. Like
yep. Like not
talking about,
talking about secrets in public and
yeah,
all that. Yeah,
or uh, they'll make a commercial about driving the speed limit, how much gas you can save versus speeding, and it's all using military vehicles and everything's. All the commercials are military,
yep.
so you hate commercials now, but if you lived overseas, you
Oh yeah,
would love to see an American commercial.
yep. When I was
We
living
would,
in Japan, we used to have people send us VHS tapes of just TV commercials to watch.
yeah, because like when we literally this last time that we were in Germany from '05 to '07. When we came back, um, you know, you don't have a Walmart that stayed open 24 hours.
Right,
You did, if you got the munchies, you if you got hungry after 9 p.m., everything shuts down, so you can't get nothing.
right.
So when we came back to the States this last time, we would literally just sit there and just flip through the channels just to watch commercials. I know that sounds crazy, but when you go 3 years without seeing commercials, you miss those
Yep.
things.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said,
Or
we we would.
we would
Hmm.
literally get up in the middle of the night just to go to Walmart, just be able to go because you can't do
Yep,
it.
yep,
See,
yep. Once the bass plays taps, everything shuts down.
yeah. And you think, well, what about the local economy? How late today? Literally 9 o'clock. Everything shuts down. All the restaurants shut down.
Yep,
Unless you were going to a nightclub,
right.
everything else shuts down.
Yep. And then the nightclubs on base were only open on the weekends.
Right. And the local nightclubs, they stay up late, but you're not going to go to a local nightclub if you're a kid or
Hmm.
if you're there and married with kids, you're just not going to go.
Now, growing up in the military, did you ever do the lockdowns at the youth center? Did
Yes.
they have them?
Yeah.
That was some fun times.
There was. Usually the youth center, the ones we had a skating ring
Hmm.
upstairs and you
Hmm.
had like a gymnasium downstairs. And you
Yeah,
go there and you locked in all night and you just basically played games and roller skate and
yeah. It was
listen
like
to
a big
music.
sleepover. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, most of the youth centers that I had been to with the military bases, they were all one floor. But they, like you said, they had a gymnasium area. They had an area that had pool tables and the skee ball tables and arcade games and pinball. And then they had like an auditorium for putting on plays and shows and stuff like that. But that's the way the Air Force did them.
Remember going to the movie theater on a military installation?
Oh
and
yeah, my
they would
parents used
play
to drop us off to watch Godzilla movies.
the national anthem.
Mhm.
They still do this today.
Mhm.
So here at Fort Polk, if you go to the movie theater on Post, they will play the national anthem, and everybody will stand up
Oh yeah.
during the national anthem. They play it before every movie.
And if you didn't stand, somebody was gonna nudge you and go stand up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because that's the thing with the military is they police their own. So if you do something wrong, you're gonna get told you did wrong. High tech.
So this is how I became a. This is how I wanted to become a drill sergeant. I was
Mhm.
7 years old.
Mhm.
We were at Fort Dix, New Jersey. My old man was a drill sergeant
Mhm.
in Alpha Company 246 Infantry, 1st Platoon Night Rangers. Now, 10 years prior to me going to basic training, I went to basic training in Alpha Company 246 Infantry, or I'm sorry, 426 Infantry,
Mhm.
1st Platoon Night Rangers. I went to the same barracks, the same platoon that my dad was a drill sergeant 10 years prior.
Mhm.
Now, when I was 7 years old in 1977 at Fort Dix, we would go to church at Theater Number 6, the same place I went to church when I was a young private.
Right.
They had what they called Doughboy Field, and it was a big traffic circle. It was about the size of 2 football fields. Well, one Sunday after church, we were driving home. We had this baby blue Volkswagen station wagon, and we're driving. We're in the left-hand lane. There's traffic behind us. My dad stops the car, walks across the Doughboy Field because that's where we did all your graduations at.
Right.
Walks up to this private and just cold cocks him. I look at my mom and
Dang.
said, "Mama, what the hell is Daddy doing?" She goes, "I don't know." He gets back in the car and she starts fussing at him. What the sand blazing hockey stick was that about? He said, "I'll be damned if I have one of my soldiers walk and chew gum with his hands in his pocket. He'll march everywhere he goes at all times." I said, "Ooh, I want to be a drill sergeant."
Oh yeah, that's one thing my dad still gets onto us to this day about us walking with our hands in our pockets.
So even as a young kid, seeing um, what my father used to do, had an impact on me. I
Mhm.
remember before he would take me to school, we would go by the post DFAC every morning, and we'd
Mhm.
have breakfast.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you remember those old coffee cups that had the two white blue lines going around the rim of it,
Yep.
the old military style coffee mugs.
Yep.
I remember going to that DFAC. I can still see it today. I can still see the layout where they kept all the pastries,
Mhm.
and it was like a big buffet you went to,
Yep.
and it cost $1 back then. And
Yep.
then basically you get whatever you want for $1.
Yep. Yeah,
And my dad would,
my dad would take us to the DFAC for like Thanksgiving dinners and stuff like that.
oh yeah, they're the
Whenever,
best.
especially, we were away from family and all.
Hmm. So there's a lot of good things about being a military kid, and but then there's some bad things about it because you don't have any consistency. You don't have that continuity, which most military kids they enjoy moving every 2 to 3 years.
Yep. Yeah.
But then, but when you get older and you start thinking back to your childhood and you listen to other people's childhood, you kind of wish that you had that sometimes, and sometimes you don't. Like
Right.
it would have been nice to be able to grow up in the same town for 18 years.
Right.
But then again, it would suck because you get so used to moving and traveling, you just get accustomed to it.
Right. And that's what I tell everybody is like, yeah, I missed out on long-lasting relationships and friends and all that. But at the same time, I got to experience things that other people can only dream about.
Yeah.
Have a good
All
night,
right, man.
Meg.
Good night, Meg.
Jason, you want to come up?
Well, look, Jay,
Jason, you want to come up?
I don't mean to be a party pooper, but I'm exhausted and I got to get to bed because I got to get up early. And tonight's stream just took a lot out of me arguing with Adam Calhoun for some reason.
I can understand that. I appreciate y'all. We may do it again on another night
Yeah.
when we can have more people on a panel. But I always see a lot on the internet about the military and people who were born in the military, or not born in, but people who joined the military and all their experiences and everything. And the kids growing up in the military don't get a whole lot of shout outs. So I wanted to do something for those of us that were born and raised in the military life, also because you know the it's not a bad thing, but it has its ups and downs.
Oh, it does. It definitely does.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Yeah, I
real
appreciate
quick,
that reaction, clowns.
and real quick before you go, Tim, Jason, do you have any questions for Tim?
Oh no.
Okay.
What up, Jay?
What's going on, Tim? Hell of a live, by the way, earlier.
It
I
was.
think that live's gonna be talked about that for a long time. Hey, look, so this is in case y'all don't know. BX Beast Boy went live and to talk about it.
Of course.
So while he was in the middle of playing the stream, he wasn't showing the video. He was just playing the audio. And it was getting to the point where me and Adam were cussing each other out. I private the video. So pissed. Oh, look at them. They took their video down. We got them. Oh, I'm winning. And then I made it public again. And I kept putting it in the chat. Hey, what are you talking about? That live's still up. You better refresh the screen, dummy. Well, I guess he didn't see my comment and he ended the live stream. And he had like 125 people in there. As soon as I privated it went down to like fucking 75.
Nah. Womp womp.
So he ended the stream. So it goes to show you that he was only doing it for the clicks and the fucking views.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cloud chaser. 100% cloud chaser.
Because before Adam came up, we were holding about 120.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when he came up, it shot up to 250.
Right.
Of course, that's going to happen because then
Yeah.
everybody's on the internet. Oh, Adam Calhoun's over on this channel, fucking yelling and screaming. So what do you think people are going to do? They're going to come watch it. I get it.
Yep.
By the way, speaking of Adam, we got beef now because you kind of stole my audience. I had a premiere of me reacting to your song. You stole my audience, man. So we got beef now. I just messing.
I feel you.
So, did we ask him to come over? No, I didn't even know he was going to come. I appreciate it, but I really do. I meant what I said earlier. He needed to get that off his chest.
Yep.
Because if you walk around with all that shit, you're going to explode. And he exploded tonight.
Oh yeah.
And he's definitely going to get some backlash from it.
Yeah.
But if anybody heard my closing remarks, if you haven't, go back and listen to the last 5 minutes of that stream.
Right.
And everything I said in there, because there are a lot of reactors out here who are just stirring shit up for clicks and views, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've stood upon of with you and Alpha Tyler's channels is I love the fact y'all are about freedom of speech, because that's something that's needed.
Right. I mean, I'll say this much in regards to Adam. I mean, I can't say I blame him, for how he came up, with all that anger and everything, because I mean, I get it. I mean, it's like I said in my recent videos, with all this shit that's going on, it's like Adam's he's earned a shit ton of respect from me because he's been keeping his nose clean. He's been minding his own, promoting his country album, enjoying his life, enjoying time with his family. And then, yeah, you got all these idiots on the internet, you know what I mean, just dragging his name into the mix. And it's like, why, dude? I mean, he's not doing anything. He's not saying anything. He's just minding his own damn business. And people still can't leave him alone. So, with all that considered, man, I can't say I blame him, for having all that anger.
Right. And
I
that's
mean, I
also
would be that way too. If it were me, I'd be that way too.
right. And that's
Amanda,
one
go
thing
ahead.
also I was going to say, and that's one thing also with what the panel was supposed to be for tonight is growing up military. We were taught that everybody's got an opinion. You don't have to agree with them, but you find common
Yeah,
ground. And
yeah,
the other thing is, men have a way of dealing with shit different than women, and it's
yeah,
usually to be violent first and then
yeah.
talk it out afterwards.
Or it don't even have to get violent. It can get really heated. Like
Right.
Jay, you could vouch for what I'm about to say. Me and
Hmm.
Tyler, obviously we're really tight. You know what I mean? We're
Hmm.
like brothers in the literal
Hmm.
sense of the word. In a sense that he and I have had our battles. We've had shouting matches with each other, and we're still just as tight as ever.
Right.
So that's right there should tell you, like, yeah, sometimes when it comes to us men, yes, we get heated. Yes, it can get violent, but usually by the end of it, what I mean, if we really care for each other, then it'll come down to being peaceful, and we'll go back to loving each other again.
Most
That's
definitely.
just,
Right.
yeah, I mean, that's just how we are.
And then it's also like
Can you
Alpha
share?
said, him and Tim ended up going ahead and going at it, but you know the
Yeah,
fans that didn't feel the need to take sides for the most part.
right.
So, Amanda, yes, I did private it while Beast Boy was listening to it because I just want to fuck with him as a troll. He likes to
Right.
troll people, so I'm gonna troll him back. So I did private it for like 5 minutes, and then I made it public, and it caused him to shut his stream down. But it's open. You can go look at it. I'm not gonna private it again.
Hmm.
Also, I know with YouTube, once you finish a live, sometimes YouTube will go ahead and not repost it for a few hours. So if it's not up, you just wait a few hours and look for it again.
What do you mean he was still on? So no, it didn't. He was still on. Yeah, but he ended his live stream like 5 minutes after I private it.
Oh, she must have caught like maybe like the end portion of the live stream.
But it's still up, as you can
But
see.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, because I know like
Well,
with Alpha streams, when he ends them, they usually um, don't go right back up right away. Once it ends, it takes it a couple hours.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's why I was like, earlier in the chat when all that was going on, trying to tell everybody like, yo, calm down. It's gonna get better, and then I could hear like, okay, it was starting to cool down, and everyone was still kind of going in like man, it's being disrespectful and all this and that. Like, are y'all watching the same stream I am? Because it sounds like it's
Right.
calming down.
Right. I feel you on that one.
Uh,
But Tim, if you need to go to bed, go ahead.
all right, I appreciate you letting me come up and do this, Jay. Like I said, if you do it another night, I'll definitely make sure my
Not a
calendar's
problem.
clear.
Not a problem.
Much.
If we get more people interested and wanting to be on panel and all that, then I'll definitely do it again.
All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to you, Jake. Keep doing what you all doing. Much
Appreciate
love
it.
and respect, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Have a good one.
All right.
catch you later, Tim. Woo.
But yeah, nobody expected that live to go as long as it did, and it did. So I appreciate everybody that had come from there, and or Tim and Lori for joining up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not getting ready to end it anytime soon, so y'all don't have to go nowhere. Like I said, if y'all have questions of me or Jason, feel free.
Yep. Yep.
If I know you and you want to hop on panel, let me know and I'll drop the link. But only if I know y'all. I've talked to y'all a lot in lives or whatever. I just don't want, the troll / porn bombers.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that, Jay. Now you're gonna get a shit ton.
Well, like I said, I'm not letting anybody up that I don't know from having talked with them.
Mm. Whew. Man, oh man, what a day.
Yep.
You just never know what's going to happen.
Yep. And that's another thing with a lot of the military brats, because that's all the life they know. A lot of them tend to join the military when they become old enough.
That is true. They do like to continue like the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. They're also, I want to say, even more patriotic than most because it's instilled in them.
Oh yeah, it's that discipline in them.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, when you're growing up in a military family, a lot of times you do the same stuff that your military parents do because that's what they know. So they train you just like, they were trained. So
Mm.
you don't talk back, you don't question, you
Yakety
do what
yak,
you're told. Hmm?
yakety yak. Don't talk back.
Right? It's like you do as you're told. I've heard a lot of times growing up, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
That's kind of a mantra for military families. And like Tim said, what you do growing up in the military lifestyle reflects on your parents, so they drill that into you too.
Yep. Yep.
Nice, Amanda.
Yeah, that's
Also,
what's
I
up,
have
brother.
twin nephews that have both joined the Air Force at different times for military police. They call it shit. I forget what they call it now.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that my now supervisor who I just started with us months ago,
Hmm.
he's a former Air Force member of the Air Force.
Yeah, and Amanda, that happens a lot in military families too. Is you grow up in one branch, so you join another branch because it's you want to be in the military, but you don't want to do what your family has done. My father joined the Air Force because his father had been Marine, or not Marines, but Army. And the words out of my grandfather's mouth was, "At least you didn't go Marines." Damn, Victoria, didn't know that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my middle brother was born with a heart murmur, and my baby brother's a trucker now, but he had done security for a long time because of being drummed out of the military. He wanted to do something that meant something, so that's the line of work he went into. Me, I became a cook.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, The reason I became a cook was because I love food. I was kind of a fat ass growing up, but the everybody always told me that I should have been, either a psychologist or a bartender because I love listening to people talk and try to help people through their problems. But when I went into cooking, I found that I could go ahead and make people happy with food, so that's what I did. Doom. Doom always
Yeah,
makes me laugh.
I refuse to acknowledge that comment. Told you I'm already spoken for, Doom.
And I appreciate everybody that's come out and that have stuck around.
And besides, I'm so mad at you, Doom. You were cheating on me with Neff. So there you go. You and Neff can have each other, man.
He's gonna keep trolling you as long as you mention it.
Now, see, you have my name spelled wrong, so you got another Jason spoken for, not me, not it.
Then again, he could be spelling it wrong to combine our names because he has said stuff about both of us.
That is true. I know he doesn't have a thing for you, so
Yep. So since we're not on the military life panel and you don't have any questions, Jason, let me
uh,
ask you: have you heard about the return of uh, the Captain Howdy and the Fireflies and all that for wrestling?
oh, you mean the Uncle Howdy?
Yeah, Uncle Howdy.
Yes, I have, and I think it's awesome.
Oh no, we're in trouble.
Okay,
Welcome,
now
Drew.
I tried to explain this to Jason the other day. No matter which way I type his name on my phone, it can be Jason. It can be whatever. It always comes out Jayson. Why it does that on my phone, I don't fucking know, and I can't figure out a way to fucking fix it. I tried going into the settings of the auto spell. It still didn't fix it. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. But according to my phone, Jason, that's how you pronounce your fucking name.
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it, but that's not how I spell it.
Well,
That's the difference.
according to my phone, that's how you fucking spell it. Okay.
Well, your phone is retarded.
Look, if you have a problem with the way that your name is being spelled by my phone, you can talk to my phone. All right, you can just talk to my phone.
Yeah,
No, I'm good with that.
yeah, and Amanda, that's what I've heard, and supposedly Bray's brother is taking up the moniker.
Well, he's always been Uncle Howdy, but
Okay.
I'm glad that they're keeping him around to play that character.
Yep. Yeah, and supposedly they're getting the faction back together too.
Yeah, I think rumor has it. I think Alexa Bliss is supposed to go back to like her crazy character
Mm-hmm.
and be part of that group, and then I think they want to get Braun Strowman to be part of it too, since he was
Right.
originally a member of the Wyatt family, and there's somebody else I can't remember right now.
Yeah. It's mainly the people that are still around that were part of it, and then
Yeah.
possibly a couple of new ones.
Mhm.
And the Undertaker on his podcast said that before Bray was taken so early from us, that he had thought that it would be a good thing for him to pass the torch to Bray, as
Yeah.
the whole dark part.
Mm. Yeah, because Bray could have been their next phenom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad that he's not around.
Right. But yeah, like I said, I figured I'd bring that up because I know you're a wrestling fan, Jason, and
Yeah.
since we're not doing the military family podcast anymore, we just start talking about anything.
Yeah, sir. That reminds me, though,
Mhm.
I still need to finish the 2K24 WrestleMania showcase.
Yep. And I
It's just,
agree, Amanda.
oh yeah, Undertaker is freaking legend. I mean, he's always been one of my favorites.
Yep. He also had said on his podcast that when he did the ministry, he thought it was a
Yeah.
great idea until it became the corporate ministry, and then he felt like they were all out of ideas, and that's why he ended it.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I liked the Undertaker during his early years, but in his later years on wrestling, I don't know. It's just like he lost his spark. Like it became more of a joke than a slogan. Like I don't know, just something in his later years in wrestling. It just
Cool.
didn't. He didn't have that certain oomph like he did in his early years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he had gotten older, and he had said himself on the podcast that he kind of knew that his career was ending before he ended it. He just
Yeah.
didn't want to believe it.
Yeah. He
I
was trying to
mean, it's
go.
kind of like when you had, it's kind of like when you had Hulk Hogan. Like, yeah, he was a good wrestler, but the moment he became Hollywood Hulk Hogan, he just became a joke. It was just like, you're a joke now.
Yeah.
You literally sold yourself to
I,
Hollywood.
I don't agree. I disagree very respectfully because Hogan becoming Hollywood Hogan, that really changed the industry for the better as far as like
Yeah,
like
but
the
but
shock
if you think
value.
about it though, Jason, though, they didn't really care about his image like they used to. After he became Hollywood Hulk Hogan, it was more of a marketing than anything else. That's all
Well,
it was. It was
well,
just a marketing scam.
well, here's the thing though. If you go back, because you're talking about when he first became Hollywood Hogan when he was in WCW, right?
I think that's what it was. It's been a few years.
Yeah, that was back in '96. And see, and he had to do that because when he was prior to him becoming Hollywood Hogan for the first time, the fans were already tired of the whole yellow and red, the old Hulk Hogan stick, and so he had to change with the times, man. It was just one of those things where it was a sign of the times, and he had to adapt. And
Yeah, but I
so,
don't. But like I said, at the same time, I don't think it was a change for the better. I just think that it just became, more of a marketing than anything.
Well,
well,
the
Because if
other
you
thing
notice in his later years,
but see, the thing is, though, it was a change for the better because, see, not only did it help, bring in new fans for him, but it also brought, more people onto WCW because prior to then, WCW they were losing money. I mean, they were hemorrhaging money at that point. So when Hogan changed, it really benefited the company as a whole. It like I said, it brought more eyes to the product. It allowed the company to do better business. So everybody on the roster benefited from Hogan doing what he did. Had
and
he
I
not,
got
WCW probably would have closed their doors a whole lot sooner than they did.
Yeah, and Jason, I got another point to that. It also opened the door for baby faces to turn heel much easier than it was before.
Well, that depends. See, there's because there's always an exception to every rule. Like Ricky the
Right.
Dragon Steamboat, for example, he was able to stay babyface during his whole entire tenure as a pro wrestler because he was just that likable of a guy.
Right.
So, and Sting, up until a point, he was pretty much in that same boat. People loved Sting, especially when he went dark and became Crow Sting and everything.
Yeah.
To keep himself relevant, people really loved that character. And
Right.
when they try to butcher his character by turning him heel back in '99, I think it was, people didn't want to boo him. So his heel run didn't really last that long. They immediately turned him back babyface again because he was one of those guys too that was just so likable. That,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
that like you said, you have exceptions to every rule, but also I believe that it also opened the door for anti-heroes to become a thing.
well, no, anti-heroes has always been a thing. Even back in like the early '90s, like Kevin Nash, for example, when he was Diesel in the old WWF, he was really like the first ever like anti-hero, that cool tweener type of character. Like basically, he was like Steve Austin before Steve Austin was Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where he was just that cool, badass type character that a lot of people just liked and cheered for because that was just a cool hit thing to do.
Right. But I still think it opened the door for the anti-heroes more, the baby faces turning heel more, and also I don't think without the Hogan heel turn that the Attitude Era would have hit like it did when it did.
Yeah, I mean, because see, here's the thing: when Hogan became a heel, and you're right, because it benefited not only WCW, but it really benefited the WWF. Because see, people always ask, which is better, the NWO or D Generation X? I always say the NWO. Reason being is because if it weren't for Hogan turning heel and helping to form the NWO with Hall and Nash, we wouldn't have gotten D Generation X on the WWF side of things.
Right.
DX was the answer to NWO. So,
Right.
you know what I mean?
And then
So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't just, it didn't just benefit WCW, it also benefited really pro wrestling in general, really, at that time. It helped create that whole boom period. You know what I mean? It made wrestling cool and popular at that time.
Right. Well, that's one thing that I've always said was the competition was what made wrestling fun. Was you
Yes.
had two different factions in two different stations that aired wrestling.
You had two different companies going at war with each other. They brought
Exactly.
up the absolute best in each other, which that to me, I love WWF/WWE when it's competing.
Right.
You know what I mean? When they competed with WCW and ECW, that's when they were at their best, and they really didn't get back there until now that we got AEW coming up, and we have TNA wrestling still. WWE is now competing again, and with Vince McMahon now being gone and Triple H being in charge of creative and everything, it's become a much better product again. It's not on the level of like the Attitude. The Attitude Era to me will always be that golden era.
Right.
Like you're never going to top the Attitude Era, but this new era where Triple H is in charge now and running things, I would say it's close.
Right. And that's the thing when it comes to wrestling is you got to have baby faces that are believable that the crowd loves, and then heels that everybody hates, and that's what they're starting to develop again.
Yeah. And yeah, Amanda, absolutely. To your point, Mick Foley definitely one of the most beloved wrestlers out there too.
Okay, one at a time.
You had that in the early '90s too, because when it was WCW and WWF and all that fucking shit, you had people that had a one side that they liked and another, and then there was a side the other people liked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was, you know, let's face it, the younger version of WWF and whatever, that was testosterone filled fucking chaos right there.
Yeah.
Let's be
Mhm.
honest. It was, you know, and the thing of it was though is that most of it wasn't even acting. Like there were a few wrestlers that really did not like each other.
Right.
Oh
They
yeah.
really didn't like each other.
Oh yeah. Shit got real back in the day, without a doubt.
Yep.
Look at Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. That rivalry that got real. Those guys
And
absolutely hated each other behind the scenes, and if you go back and watch it, you could tell.
yeah, and to Amanda's point, that's a good heel is when you have a heel that can make people go keep him off the TV.
Hey, I like CM Punk. I mean, there was moments where I kind of got upset with him because of his behavior recently, but he's proven though that he's gotten a lot better both on and off air. So
Right.
I'm feeling Punk now. I think Punk is a lot better than he was before.
And the thing with Punk is that's him. People have to realize he is
Yeah,
a hothead. He's outspoken. He's gonna
yeah,
say shit and not give a fuck.
right. And he'll back it up. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to give him that much credit. He will back up his shit too in real life. He may take an ass whooping for it, but I mean, at least he's man enough to back up his shit.
Right. And see, I think that's what people online need to think about the independent, rap scene is look at it as the entertainment. Don't be so hard to follow people blindly. Listen to all sides of the music and
Yeah,
form your own opinion.
yeah. Don't ever be afraid. And see, this is what people need to understand too. And I wish more people would go back and watch the Tupac prison video, the prison interview that he did, because Church even quoted an excerpt from that interview that Tupac did in prison, where he
Hmm.
said, listen to the music, listen to the lyrics that your favorite artist is saying, and hold them accountable for what they say, hold them accountable for what they do. Ask yourself if that shit is real to you, and don't be afraid to question your favorite artist. Don't be afraid to hold them accountable, hold them, responsible for what they say and or do. So that's why it's like, okay, dude is man enough to do that, and Church supposedly is man enough to do all that, but yet some people still feel afraid to call him out when he says something that's out of pocket. You know what I mean? Out of line. They're afraid to tell him when he's wrong. I'm sorry, but I'm not a yes man. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Right.
If I don't care if you're Eminem, who was one of my favorite rappers, not so much these days. Um, you know what I mean? I don't care if you're Adam Calhoun. I don't care if you're Mises. I don't care if you're Upchurch. You know what I mean? You say something that's out of pocket, out of line. I don't agree with it. I'm going to say it, and I will
Right.
hold you accountable. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
to me, that's what a fan does. A fan is someone who actually has their favorite artist's best interest at heart. You know what I mean? You should be like their best friend, have their best interest at heart, and let them know, hey, look, dude, you're saying some weird stuff. You're not moving right. You know what I'm saying? Dog, you need to check yourself, man, because you ain't right here. And if they have an issue with that, then to me, they're not a quality human being.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as growing up, we always heard, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So,
Yeah,
that's what people need to go back to and understand and realize is, and you don't have to like an artist personally just to like their music.
right.
It boils down to the music. After all, you got to listen objectively and think, okay, well, does he make a point? Yes or
Hmm.
no?
Yeah,
And whether or not you agree with the message.
Well, the thing is, see, for me, and again, this goes back to church, because church and I actually had a back and forth, whether it's through our comments or through IG videos. And it's like, despite our back and forth, do I still think he's a talented artist? 100%, absolutely. You know what I mean? And it's obvious because he's got the numbers to back that point up. So I'm not going to take away the man's talent just because me and him have a personal problem. You know what I mean? That's between us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But as a person, though, that's different. I'm separating a person from his art. So, and as a person, I feel like he's kind of lower tier right now because, he's having trouble, taking accountability for the things that he says and the things that he does, that are wrong, which goes against what I believe in and what I stand up for. So,
yeah. I just want to know when it changed.
Can you repeat that, Jason?
I'm sorry?
I said I wasn't paying attention. Can you repeat that?
So I was saying that for church, someone like Orion Up Church, who I had a personal back and forth with. As far as him as an artist, I still believe he's a talented artist, like without a doubt. But as far as him as a person is concerned, I feel like he's kind of fallen off. He's a lower tier human being because he's having trouble with people who are holding him accountable for the things that he's saying that are wrong and the things that he's doing that are wrong.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Jeffrey. By the way, I'm wondering where it changed when Upchurch used to say, okay, if somebody doesn't like my music, be respectful and ask them why and talk with them, to now where it's like, if somebody disagrees with me, everybody go after them. What changed and when?
Well, see, no, I'm not going. I don't know Ryan Upchurch, okay, so I can't commentate on him because, like I said, I'm not going to dig into this community more than I already have.
Right.
So y'all can go fuck yourselves on that one. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. I don't have that. I don't have it.
Right.
But at the same moment, there are okay, and I'm probably gonna get raked across the coals against this. Okay, so whatever. I don't give a flying fuck. Do what you want to do. Clown me, troll me, whatever. I don't give a flying fuck.
Just speak your mind, bro.
Yeah. It's like this, you got real artists, like Beyonce, R. Kelly. You have Eminem. You had oh god, there was another fucking one. But they would always talk about be respectful, blah blah blah. But even when they got on the power trip, when they finally hit that milestone, they changed for a bit. Because it was like, once they hit this, like, throne or this power trip, like their high horse, they began to stop listening to the criticisms and whatnot. They were like, well, I don't give a flying fuck. I'm over here. I'm high on the roller coaster of fame, so you all don't fucking matter. It's just like, no matter who you are, where you come from, you can even look at it in country music too, with people starting from nothing. The moment they hit that high spot, it's like they change. It's like something snaps in them.
Yeah.
And the only way they can snap back to reality is if they really fall hard. Somewhere along the line, they get a taste of the fame and forget where they come from. And I don't know why. I don't know how it begins or where it starts. But there's just that one moment when they reach the high top, they just fucking change. It's why I don't. It's one main reason why, as a person, I can't support one artist. Like, I like a lot of music, but I'm not going to fanboy behind the artist because you never know what you're going to get.
True.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Hello, Herf.
like I said, I don't know when they fall out that proverbial horse and become too high from their britches, but I've noticed that more and more in this day and age. The moment they reach that high top, they're on cloud nine and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I would contribute it. I'm Nick, by the way. I think I seen you, Jay, the other day in Triple T's chat. I think I did.
Probably.
Yeah, I think that's why you came up in my algorithm. I don't know. I'm bored too. I saw boredom cast, so I was like, well, I'll contribute a little bit.
Yeah. Originally, I had Tim and his wife Lori on, and we were discussing growing up in a military family, but they had to go to bed, so we opened it up to anybody who wanted to just talk their shit.
Yeah, they were boring tonight, so it wasn't much of a show. They were too boring.
I think we're all a little boring. That's life, right?
Right.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I always say that
Listen
is the boredom.
Go back to the conversation real quick. But it's why I don't listen to Eminem no more. Because it's not what he sings now is not what he, it's not like his original music. Like his original music was like, growing up in the hood and whatnot. Now he's just singing just what he knows.
I'll say this, okay? Like Eminem, when he got political, I didn't fucking give a fuck about it much, really. But also, I can defend the fact that when I met Jonathan Davis back in the day on their Follow the Leader tour, okay, during that album, and when I mainly met Fieldy. I only talked to John for a minute, but I talked to Fieldy more. And I actually asked Fieldy I was like fucking 14 years old. And I asked Fieldy, I said, bro, why isn't your Follow the Leader sound like Life is Peachy or fucking your self-titled, man? It's not the same. And he said, bro, we've made $1 million fucking dollars by this point. He goes, we don't have the same grit we did back then. That music is fucking 7, 8 years old now, Right. And it changes over time, like you're not going to have the same oomph that you did at the start ever in any artist.
Right.
You evolve to what you evolve to, and you'll either like it or you won't, but they'll always have their classics.
Right. Well, with me, my argument when it comes to Eminem is that I prefer older Eminem than I do current Eminem, and the reason being is because I feel like Eminem's earlier work, it has more substance in it. You know what I mean? Like there's more content in what he's talking about versus, his newer stuff now. When you listen to it, there's not really much substance or anything to it. It's like he's just talking a bunch of like babble. Like he's just rambling on or whatever.
Exactly. And the newest track, when it's not even new anymore, but the newest track I like by Eminem is Rap God. That shit was crazy. You can't deny Rap God was fucking wow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll agree with that all day, every day. Yeah, Rap God is insane.
Well, also, one, welcome to the Boredom Podcast, where I go live because I'm bored. But two, the other thing about it is it goes cross genres. Metallica, they were great in their early days, and then they got the taste of fame and started going against everything that they stood for in the past, and started making commercialized music. And now they're having to come back around.
This is where I have to throw the wrench. I'm sorry, I only listened to 4 Metallica songs, and that's it. If they made anything else, I don't know about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can understand that.
But I agree with you there. Death Magnetic surprised the fuck out of me because that was like, whoa, wait, they found their grounding a little bit. Right. They're still there,
Right.
I was like, wait a minute. Where'd that come from? What the fuck?
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree on that. And to me, the first 4 albums were the best albums they did.
Oh, absolutely.
That's when they started changing up who they were.
I was honestly on back in that day. I was more on the Pantera wagon where they were like, "Fuck the Black Album," and so was I. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh
You
yeah.
know, don't get me wrong. There are classic songs on the Black Album, but at the same time, you know, it's not what they were. They definitely changed at that point, and it just got progressively worse up until Death Magnetic, and then it's just like, what?
Yeah, I
Okay.
wholeheartedly believe that from around the Black Album, James Hetfield forgot how to write music or write songs, I should say, lyrics, because before that, he actually wrote songs about shit he read or had dreams about or what have you, and actually
Exactly.
would have a storyline in the song and or the album. And after that, it just became a jumble of what can I get played on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And now they are what they are. And
Right.
I mean, I respect them. I'll never not respect them. They are who the fuck they are.
Right.
But to me, it's like you have in the Metallica verse, it's Metallica or Pantera, and I choose the Pantera side all day, every day. You know?
Well, I like both.
Well, I do. I can listen to Metallica. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more on the Dimebag Darrell Pantera verse. You know?
Yeah. And if you ever want to hear Alpha Tyler go on a massive rant, you talk about Metallica with him. He can't stand Metallica. He will rant about them all day.
No, I would still go to a Metallica show. Absolutely, I would. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have a good fucking time. They're gonna play. They're gonna play 2.5, 3 hours. You're gonna get a show. You know.
And I agree, Amanda, that Ted Nugent and Alice Cooper have always been who they were, and have never really changed up.
No, they've always been the same. Yep.
Right.
Always.
And I'll give them props for that. But like I said, every genre has artists that change up once they have fame. You know, there's country artists that were outlaw artists that once they tasted fame,
Luke Combs.
they switch up.
Luke Combs.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck him, man. Fuck Luke Combs. Shit.
But then again, at the same time, I don't like you said, I don't tell people fuck an artist, because there's people that like all different types of music. So music is subjective.
I got
just
that
because
right.
somebody doesn't like it doesn't mean that it's not good to them.
I got that. Okay, it's
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say this. It does not matter how subjective you can get. Mocon's music is still gonna fucking suck.
I can kind of agree with that one too. Yes.
He's always gonna fucking suck.
Speaking of which, Jason, Ethic the God dropped a diss on Mocon right before I went live.
Yeah, I got the notification.
Cool. It's a good song. I listened to it before the live.
And for me, no matter what, I will always think Five Finger Death Punch suck. I will always think Linkin Park suck. And that's my opinion. I think they fucking suck. Papa Roach sucks.
See, the thing of it is,
I like both.
I only like,
and they're multi-platinum bands.
I only like one song by them, and I have to play it every time I go into a live, and that's Welcome to the Circus. Because let me tell you something. When you go into a live stream, it's always the fucking circus. You don't know what fucking freak you're going to get.
Right.
My whole thing is I'm sure they're cool guys. I drink a beer with them.
Right.
But all their music sounds the same to me. I'm just like, come up.
Yeah. And that's cool. You're allowed to have that opinion.
It's the same with Linkin Park, though. Like, I only like one song by Linkin Park, and that's Numb. Like, what I hate generally about the music fans is they're like, well, if you can't be, you can't support the artist if you only like one song. I'm like, it's like, I only like one song. I don't need to hear the entire fucking album.
Well, my thing with Linkin Park was Linkin Park and like Papa Roach was the beginning of the end of what was a good era of music in the 90s. and you can call it new metal or whatever the fuck. But record labels push them into that fucking new metal with Korn and Deftones, and they had no place there. None, in my opinion.
Well,
And
in my unpopular opinion, I think Nirvana and the start of grunge killed rock, metal, whatever you want to call it.
I can
But that's
see
me.
I can see where you're coming from on that, though.
Yeah.
I can totally see where you're coming from because there was the grunge, and then there was fucking Pantera and Slayer and fucking Metallica and that shit. Okay, but grunge made it mainstream. They beat out all that hair rock, you know, and they changed shit.
Hey, I love my hair bands.
You know, fucking Motley
Yeah, I know.
Crue and Poison and Def Leppard.
Yeah, I actually like all those bands.
And GNR. I can't stand Guns N' Roses, bro. I can't.
the only Guns N' Roses. Well, I'll take that. I have to rewind that. Guns N' Roses' first album, and then Lies, and then Civil War. Civil War was kind of good, but the first album was good. Lies was good. After that, they fell off because they kept kicking members out of the band.
Once again, this is where I get to say the only song I know by Poison, Guns N' Roses is Poison, I think it was. Or Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
What about Paradise City? You fucking know that song.
No, actually, that's the only song I will refuse to listen to.
Well, you know it, though.
Only because my mother fucking had that fucking song on repeat. Every fucking time it come on the radio, she was fucking blaring. It's like, fuck you, bitch.
Paradise City, where the girls are green and the grass is pretty.
Yeah. And you fucking know Welcome to the Jungle. Everybody knows that fucking song, too. So.
Welcome to the jungle.
Look, it came to a point that my mother was no longer allowed to touch the radio if I was in the fucking car.
It's fun fact. When I lived in Japan, I got to see Guns N' Roses for the Appetite for Destruction tour. I got to see Metallica for Justice for All tour. I got to see Cinderella for the Long Cold Winter tour. And there was one more I forget off the top of my head.
Hell yeah. That's one thing a lot of people, well, they know now more than ever, but there's a lot of metal fans in Japan. A lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there are. They love metal and rock.
Fucking, how about baby metal? How kick-ass are they?
I'm not a big fan, but there's a band that was around in the 80s that's a Japanese band that I like that's called X Japan.
I was in Okinawa for 3 years, and I knew like there was a band down there called 8 Ball, and there was another band called Two Side One Brain. But
I think I've heard of both of them because I was in Yokota from 88 to 90.
Oh well, no, this was in 06 to 09.
Okay.
So yeah, like yeah, they play fucking yeah. Like but Fake Kings, there was a band there called Fake Kings. Dude, they were metal motherfuckers, man. It was badass. It surprised me moving there. I was like, holy shit, there's metal clubs. That's what I'm talking about. And even though you didn't speak the same language, I made a lot of fucking friends. I really did, just through music. And you live in there, you know that. Like it's so interesting. And that's why I wish more people in the world would travel more and experience that type of shit, you know?
Oh, yeah. And it's like I was talking about on the panel with Tim and Lori, is living overseas, you get to get technology before the U.S. does. Because, like, when I was in Japan, we had all sorts of gadgets and stuff that didn't come out until, like, 2 years after I'd moved back to the States. And I was like, man, but I was rocking this stuff, years before it got here.
I love living in Japan. That's one place, if I had the money, I'd live there the rest of my fucking life. Or I definitely would buy a condo to go out there all the time. That's for sure. I love their culture and just everything about them. They're fucking awesome. It's awesome.
Right.
Fucking.
Yeah.
They don't lock their doors there. They don't have any fucking crime. The ones that commit
Yep.
crime are fucking Americans.
Yep. When my
Like,
dad first moved to Japan, he told the story to me that he had gone on a trip on the train, and he left like really expensive camera on the seat of his car and left the car unlocked. And security guard sat there and waited for him to get back, and told him he waited because he knew there was something valuable in the car or the camera, and he didn't want the Americans to steal it.
there you go. There you go. And I can't say enough good things about Japan. I loved
Oh, yeah.
everything about it. Honestly, the most thing that would annoy me the most while I was there for the 3 years was the politeness got annoying, because that's how polite they are. Like, I'd always be like, stop saying sorry for everything. You don't have to do that. Like, I missed assholes a little bit, the American asshole.
Yeah. And it's like pulling teeth to get them to speak English to you, because they feel so ashamed if they say something wrong.
Right.
So you have to let them, reassure them that it's okay to speak to you in your native language.
Yeah, it does. It takes a minute once you get to know somebody for them to comfortably come out, and it's just it's so amazing. It's amazing.
Yep. Thank you for coming by, Amanda.
Catch you later, Amanda.
Yeah, I wish more people could experience it and see how it is. Like, it freaked me out seeing, like, you'd see 4-year-olds walking down the street to school in Japan, and you're like, why's that kid walking alone? And they're like, no, that's how they do. Nobody will fuck with that kid. Nobody. They're going to school, or they're coming home from school.
Yep. Not to mention, when I lived over there, I became an alcoholic as a teenager, because they send their kids to the store to buy their liquor for them, and nobody bats an eye.
No. Nope. And they drink all the time. That's just what they do.
I say to this day, the only people that I will not get into a drinking contest with are Japanese, Germans, and Scots.
Yeah.
Because they all drink like fishes and don't know when to quit.
No.
So what about the Irish?
Well, yes and no. Them too.
Irish is a stereotype.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many Irish actually drink like those other 3 countries that I mentioned.
Oh, I think Japan would put them all under the table. I really do.
I mean, the only people that I think that,
because, like, usually, like, the ongoing running gag is like, oh, the Irish, they drink a lot, but it's like, is that really true though? That's why I asked.
I mean, they drink a lot, but even the Irish will tell you they won't go into a drinking contest with an Asian or a German.
Not German, no, absolutely not. Like, there's a reason why they have Beer Fest in fucking Germany.
and the only other Asian country that I would say would give Japanese people a run for their money drinking is Koreans, because Koreans have soju.
Yep. Sake or soju, whichever the two. Those fucking sake bowls in Japan, good Lord.
Oh yeah.
Man. Like, many nights. And another thing I loved about the culture is when they'd invite you to dinner, you have a friend invite you to dinner, you already knew that it was going to take 3 hours. Like, that's minimum on a dinner there at anywhere. Like, you're going to sit for 3 hours. That's why they serve small portions.
Well, that's what I was telling my ex-wife about whenever I got with her, is the Japanese culture. They eat a little, they drink a little, they talk a little, they smoke a little, they eat a little, they drink a little, they talk a little, they smoke a little, and that's their routine for every meal. So it takes a long time to eat a meal, because you're enjoying the company you keep, and you end up not eating as much and are fuller longer.
Yep. It's a beautiful thing. It's like it teaches patience.
It's a beautiful country too.
Oh God, Yeah, and I was down in Okinawa, which is their Hawaii. You know.
Oh yeah. Yep.
didn't get up to mainland. I was with the Okinawans.
Yeah. And you
And,
don't want to call an Okinawan Japanese. They will get mad at you.
it depends. They're used to it. You know, they've been around Americans quite a bit. You know.
Right.
But they'll be like, I'm Okinawan. It's different. It is. It's completely
The
different.
Japanese will say Okinawa is part of them all day long, but the Okinawans, if you're Japanese and call them Japanese, they will get mad at you.
Right. Okinawa back in the day, they were taken over by mainland. That's
Right.
it. That's what happened. So
Right.
they had their own thing going on there for a while until the whatever you want to call them, their emperors or whatnot. They got into war because Japan they're bad motherfuckers in history. They almost took over China at one point.
Yep. I told people before, the reason that we know that the human body is like 80 or 90% water is because during World War II there was a group that took POWs and they threw them in a furnace and measured before and after.
I can't remember the name of the camp, but I know what you're talking about. It was like it was a camp number, and they did a lot of experiments on Chinese people, and it's fucked up. It's wild. It's wild. They actually made a movie about it.
Mm-hmm. Their concentration camps rivaled the Germans.
But But that's part of human history. There's a lot of medical shit that we wouldn't know if they didn't do some of that shit, but it's fucked up. It's bad.
Oh yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the experiments that they did on people were. Yeah. If you're into that stuff, you can go down the Google rabbit hole on it and find out about it.
Exactly.
And I found out about it going into looking at those fucked up horror movies that are out there. You know.
Yeah. One of my favorite channels that I watch this content is called The Fat Electrician, and he does military history stories. And he will go and research about different groups, different branches, and tell stories, about things. One of the ones he did was about the Doom Turtle, which was a tank during World War II that the military developed just so that they could overrun German fortifications. And it's really interesting.
Yeah. What do you think about the war coming up, man? How do you think it's going to go down?
Yeah, don't worry about it until it happens.
Right. It's not much you can do.
The only thing I watch is what China's doing with Taiwan, because I know that's going to set off something.
With that, it was kind of that bothered me a while, and I'm thinking that we're just going to allow it to fucking happen. To be honest with you, unless Trump wins,
right? I was going to say under the current administration, it would just end up letting it happen. But if Trump does get in, or a Republican in general,
right?
Then we're going to stand up for Taiwan.
And I'm honestly worried if we're even going to have an election or not this year. I am. I'm still. It's only May, and
right.
They're going to release the Kraken before November,
Yeah, right.
And I just don't know what that Kraken's going to be, but it's going to be something. They got that bird flu mess that they keep fucking mainstream news keeps putting out there, and it's like, oh my god, I don't know.
Sorry, Jason and Doom for us, lamenting about Japan.
Yeah.
What? I wasn't even paying attention. What?
All good.
Neither was I.
It's all good. We'll go back to talking about Japan.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and hop down because I gotta get back to work. But it was great talking with all y'all.
Have a good one, Jason.
Yeah. So
appreciate you coming up.
So you lived fucking in the 80s in Japan. That's a
late 80s, early 90s, and I was mainland around Tokyo. The base is Yokota Air Base in the city of Fusa.
okay. All right. Fucking I was down there. I was stationed on Kadena in Okinawa.
Yeah.
While I was
See, I
there.
wasn't stationed, but my dad was.
Okay.
I was a teenager then.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that. Oof.
Yeah, I did half of my sophomore, my junior, and senior years in Japan.
Did you end up enlisting in service yourself?
No, I had talked about it on the podcast a little bit when Tim and Lori were here. I was overweight at first, and then whenever they were ready to take me because of my weight, I decided I wanted specific jobs, and they had said that those were full, and I refused to go general and let them put me where they wanted me.
Okay. Well, that's smart. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? At least you were
Yeah.
like, no. But that comes your family's military, so you knew what the fuck they were going to do
Exactly.
before you went in there. You know?
Yeah. I didn't let the recruiters feed me a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Well, I knew that. I enjoyed being. I was Patriot Missile my first 3 years, and then I wanted to
Nice.
transfer. I wanted to be a prison guard, and they told me that shit was full. And on
Right.
my reenlistment, and I was like, well, then I'm not going to reenlist then. Fuck it. You know, and they were like, hang on, we'll see what we can figure out. And I'm like, exactly. You know, and they got me in there, and I was a prison guard the last 7 years, which was, I'd say it was I got trapped, man. Like it was a long 6-year contract because the MP world was way different from the air defense world.
Right.
And I didn't like the MP world at all. There's a lot of backstabbing people in there.
Speaking of which, there's another guy that I follow, habitual line crosser. He is current military and works on air defense in the Patriot system and does a lot of debunking of the Russian disinformation.
Okay. Yeah, he's got also tread. I'm sure he knows how to tread lightly, though. There's a lot of smart people in Patriot Missile.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. He teaches the system.
Yeah, with treading that line of I'm not giving you any information really, other than shit that's already out there.
Right. That's what he does too. The stuff that he talks about has already been declassified.
Exactly.
And he mentions a lot of times that, this is what is declassified. We know that there is further ranges, but we can't talk about it.
Exactly. You can't, and it just is what it is. And it's changed.
I follow a lot of either veteran channels or current military.
Yeah, and like I said, and it was I got out of Patriot Missile in the end of 2009. So it's things have changed since then. Obviously, it always changes. So it was.
He loves debunking the hypersonic missiles that Russia the Russian
that
fanboys
Russia
talk
was
about.
threatening our ships over there in the sea or whatever that's out there.
Yeah. Well, he gets into it with Russian fanboys in his chat too.
Well, they're what the fuck, you know what I mean? Right. We're living in crazy fucking times, man. Like, fucking internet. There's obviously a lot of great things about it, and there's fucking so much bad though that comes out of it. Gee, fucking bullshit. I don't know. You know, it's we have the military strength. We're still the strongest military in the world, but there's just certain shit that it's not worth putting our sons and daughters in the line of bullshit. You know?
Right. Well, it's also one of those things that I tell everybody that, people talk about, today's military is soft compared to when they were in, but it's like every generation says that. You had people during World War II saying the same thing when
about
they got
Vietnam.
out. That the people were soft and everything else. So
I would say this, like when I joined in 2006, I was I went to Fort Sill for my basic training.
Right.
And they had MTV out there filming us during our not before. Like we had what they called it was you go across the tracks into actual boot camp, and
Yeah.
you get in your cattle car, and they drive you across railroad tracks, and you go to where the actual drill sergeants are. They were filming the part when they're doing all your shots and shit in your medical area. That's what they were filming. Okay, and they were
the MEPS.
film. Yeah, it's not MEPS. You do MEPS before you actually go to the camp. But either way, it's the same shit. They're processing you.
Right. In processing, yeah.
Correct. That's what they were filming. And they were filming it because in 06 at that time, they changed the strategy of boot camp to have red phase, white phase, blue phase or some shit. Yeah. And it was easier. It would progressively get easier. The drill sergeants weren't supposed to do whatever they were doing before, all that crap, right? And I didn't like it. You know, I wanted the Full Metal Jacket basic training experience. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna give it to me, fucking give it to me.
Right.
And once I was so happy because once we got on that cattle car and we were going across the tracks, the drill that I had was just like, Pry, this is my last year being a drill, and if you think I'm not going to kick you in your fucking head or cuss at you,
right.
He goes, I don't give a fuck what cameras around. And there wasn't no cameras once we crossed those tracks, but I was like, thank God they're gonna get us, and they did, and it was great as far as that was concerned, you know, because I don't want to be peddled, you know, I don't want to be hugged. Going to war. It's not fun and games. That's all I trained. I was Patriot Missile. Every NCO that I had was like, you're never going to use Patriot Missile. You're going to go kick indoors because that's what they did. They'd already been over there 4 or 5 times kicking indoors. Yep. And they're like, you're not going to do Patriot Missile. So I was ready to go to war, and I got lucky and went to Okinawa, Japan. First Patriot Missile unit to go to fucking Okinawa since World War II. Any Army unit. And it was just random that it happened. The drill that was in my AIT class threw the clipboard in the desk across the room when he was reading our orders out. Because half the class went to Okinawa, and he requested to go to Okinawa, and he didn't get it.
He was mad.
Yeah. He was like, fuck you, you motherfucker. You don't have to go fucking over there to the dirt trap, you know, fucking, you know. And I mean, honestly, I cried a little bit. We all did because we thought we were going to kick indoors. That's what you were trained to do. And it didn't happen. Korea was acting a fool, shooting missiles over mainland Japan. And they said, no, we need Patriot Missile. And that's what we
another
went.
thing that's fun about the military is you learn to adapt and overcome.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, it's just what I was ready to do, and I didn't have to do it. I got lucky. So what can I say? It is what it is.
Right. And
then when I went to be the prison guard for a year of that, I went down to Guantanamo Bay. That was interesting.
I bet.
To say the least.
Yep.
Learned a lot of things down there.
Yeah, that's another thing that the military teaches is to embrace the suck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because it's going to suck.
Even though I was never in, you know, we learned that growing up in a military family is, you know, that things are going to suck. You just have to get over it. Yeah, you're just fortunate that you never had to get in and serve for anything. You went to whatever and went on doing other shit, you know? Yeah. And before my toe amputation, I was working on the base as a cook at the chow hall. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was one thing that I was surprised when I went to Japan is that it was an Air Force base. So the people, you didn't even have to pick up your tray in the chow hall. The people working in there would pick your tray up. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? That's the way the Air Force does it, yep. I was like, they whining down these fuckers. What I find funny is I always hear, you know, other branches complain about the Air Force having better chow and having like lobster mac and cheese and stuff. The only time that I've seen the Air Force do lobster mac and cheese is after New Year's because they'll do lobster for New Year's. Right. And then they'll have leftover, so they have to do something with it or it's going to go bad, so they make lobster mac and cheese. You nailed it. You fucking nailed it. They would have surf and turf. Yep. You know, and you'd be like, oh, it's surf and turf day.
Of course you're gonna go to Surf and Turf. It's like $9 fucking. You know, like
Right.
yeah, you're gonna go.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, but hey, Army chow halls. There was one in Tacoma or not Tacoma, whatever that Fort Leonard Wood. Their little chow hall they had, their breakfast was off the fucking chain. They did it up in there. They had a fucking waffle bar and
Yep.
everything up in that motherfucker. I was like,
Yep.
damn. And that was like $2.
Yep.
You think I'm gonna miss breakfast at a chow hall? It's got everything you want for breakfast?
Exactly.
No,
Yep.
absolutely not.
Oh, we'd get for every shift, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You'd have guys lining up out the door waiting to get in the chow hall.
You worked on the civilian side.
Yep.
I've only seen the civilians working at one chow hall, and that was at Leavenworth, and they fucking sucked. I hated that chow hall to a passion, and that was the only base that I'd ever been on where they took the money out of my check to eat at the chow hall, and it pissed me off. They took like $500 a month out of my check for the chow hall, and
I
it's
don't
like,
know about Army bases, but I know with the Air Force bases, they also not only is the chow hall good, pretty good food, they have like fast food places around the bases.
oh yeah, they got everything you want. Yeah, they got Burger
Yep.
Kings and Subways
Yep.
and Starbucks and fucking
Hmm.
yeah, whatever else.
Yeah, we got a Popeye's chicken out here
Yeah, they had
on the Air Force
Popeye.
base.
Fucking Okinawa had 2 Chili's restaurants on it.
Wow.
And a macaroni grill.
Yeah.
It was I got cussed out by a guy. I was at the macaroni grill once, and I had a hat on and not in uniform. And this
Hmm.
guy that was not in uniform just in there in the restaurant eating. And he's like, "Hey, take your hat off." And I was like, "No, I'm not taking my hat off." And he's like, "You're eating in a dining establishment. You should take your hat off." I'm like, "No." And he's like, "You know who the fuck I am?" I was like, "I don't care who the fuck you are. You're in civilians, and so am I. You don't know who I am."
Right.
But I was young, young fucking
Hmm.
PFC,
Hmm.
and he got. I showed him my ID, and that was my
Yeah.
mistake. I never did that again. But
Right.
either it was funny because I got back Monday morning or whatever. My first sergeant called me in, and he goes, "You realize you told the sergeant major of that base to fuck himself?" He's like, "He's the sergeant major of the Marine Corps over there, bro. And you told him to fuck
Yeah.
himself. You weren't taking off a hat." And he laughed about it. He's like, "Don't do that again, dude."
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
What's funny is when we were in Japan, my mom had a run-in with a butter bar because he was trying to throw his weight around, and it was at a church function. And my mom went in the back and was like crying because the guy yelled at her and all this stuff. And the chaplain came, and the chaplain was a major. And he asked her, what was going on. And when she told him, he was like, hold on, come with me, and walked out there, grabbed the butter bar, spun him around, and proceeded to read him the riot act because he was volunteering to help out for this thing, and he wanted to try to throw his weight around. He was like, "You got just 2 bars. I've got the leaf. Fuck you."
One of the best insults I'd heard was from my E7 platoon sergeant in Okinawa. We're out in the field, and we'd go out in the
Hmm.
field 3 months at a time. And this
Right.
new butter bar was out there and trying to throw fucking bullshit butter bar weight around, And the
Hmm.
E7 said, "Sir, I've took shits longer in the porta john out here than you've been in the fucking military. Go fuck yourself."
Oh yeah, it's so funny when you get like the senior NCOs talking to NCOs, and it's like, with all due respect, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself. It took shits longer in that porta john than you've been in the military. It's like, oh, that's a
Right.
good one. That's a good
Right.
one.
And a lot of people don't realize a lot of acronyms that we use every day came from the military,
Oh yeah.
like FUBAR
Yep.
and STFU and all that started
Yep.
in the military.
Yep. FUBAR, fucked up beyond repair, for those that don't know.
Yeah. Well, I always thought it was fucked up beyond all recognition.
No, that too. It could
Yeah.
be either or. Either
Yeah,
or.
exactly.
Either or. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I don't miss the fucking military. I'm not one of them people. I
Right.
was ready to go when I left, and I was very fortunate for the situation when I did leave. All they told me to do was just go to work and go home unless there was a piss test. And
Right.
they kept their word on that. And I got to give my chain of command props for doing that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They were like, we know you're getting out. You got 6 months left on your contract. Just show up to the jail, go to work, go home like a regular job.
Yeah.
And they kept their word. And but boy, there
Yeah.
were NCOs
I've heard a lot of people have that kind of same reaction when they were getting out.
yeah,
The only people that want to throw their weight around again are the officers, and people would just pull out their paperwork and say, "I'm getting out. Fuck you."
yeah, yeah. And there were NCOs that were jealous about you getting out for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yeah.
it's the way of the world, and it is what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
That was back in. It was so hard to keep my mouth shut that last year I was in. Oh my god, they tried everything. There was NCOs that tried everything to get me to run my mouth, and it's like,
Yep.
nope, I can keep my
Yep.
mouth shut and go on.
Yep.
Fuck
That
that.
and the other thing my dad taught me about when he was in is there's no atheists in foxholes.
No, absolutely not. No.
Because when you're being shot at, you're praying to anybody that's listening.
Yeah. Whatever's there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm glad I never actually had to experience any combat situations. I'm fortunate because
Yeah.
I've obviously I knew all the NCOs that trained me had already been there 5 or 6 times and had PTSD, and God
Yeah.
bless them because you couldn't ask for people that were better trainers. You know,
Yep.
like they knew they'd been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Yep.
You know, and they were hell on high bent that they were sending you, and they wanted you to come home.
Yep. And that's the thing that my dad had told me also is he volunteered during Nam and did not go to Nam. He went to Turkey and Thailand, but he said in Turkey there was many times that the sirens would go off and they'd have to hit the foxholes.
Right, right. Like I was just fortunate. You know, I don't know
Yep.
what else to say. I was ready.
Right.
I was prepared, but it
Right.
didn't go.
Yep.
Like
But you serve in the capacity that you have to serve.
yeah, it fucking is what it is. I fucking had a great job. Uh, I was working for fucking Home Depot as an assistant manager, going to school to be main management. But I was on salary based, so they worked me 70 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, well, I'll join the army to get college money. Yeah, that didn't fucking work. You know what I mean? Because they don't give you time to go to college. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know so
So
many people when the war kicked off that were pissed off and tried to get out because all they did was join for the college benefit.
mm,
That kind
well,
of
I
pissed
wasn't
me
gonna.
off every time I
I,
heard that.
yeah, I wasn't gonna join the guard or reserve. That's why I joined active. I was like, if
Right.
I'm going full blown
Right.
active. I
You can
don't.
go full bore.
Yeah. Like, why? And I'll do my 3 or 4 years. Use my GI. Well, obviously, it turned into 10 years.
Right.
You know. So it just is what it is. Yeah, it was. But yeah, doing that was just. It's like, well, who knows? Who knows? That could have been management for Home Depot, but I ended up being in the
Right.
military. And I
Oh,
was
and
the least dude. I was so anti that war in Iraq and everything. I
mhm.
was anti Bush. I didn't swallow my red pill until Trump was in office a year.
Right.
After his first year, the red pill got swallowed, and they took a reverse. It was
Yep.
I didn't change. The fucking Democratic Party changed.
Right. See, I'm a registered independent,
Yeah,
so I vote for the lesser of two evils, no matter what. And when Trump was coming in that first time, I looked and I was like, well, one, I can't vote for Hillary because she let our service members die in Benghazi for no reason. So I gotta go with Trump. And then listening to his promises and watching him actually try to make them happen, I was like, okay, I got a lot of respect for this man.
right. And a lot of what he could do was just like like anybody, like even Obama, some of the policies that were okay when he was trying to get passed, it was stop at the House because
Mm-hmm.
it was all Republican ran, and all you could do is stop the bleeding at a point, and that's what Trump was doing with the Democrats, was stopping the bleeding. Like, hey,
Yep.
like, there's only so much you can do. You can veto shit all day long. You can
Right.
issue orders, but I still don't agree with Trump's still in Big Pharma's pocket in a way,
Mhm.
and I don't like that. I really don't like that.
And the other thing that, like, a lot of people that I talk to that aren't in America don't understand is our president is not a dictator. He doesn't dictate policy and laws
No,
and
they're a
everything.
fucking puppet on a string for the most part.
Yeah, it's the House and the Senate that pass everything. So he has to get approval by them. Can he veto things? Yes.
Yes.
Does he? Depends.
Yeah, exactly. It depends. Exactly.
It's on a case by case basis.
Correct. And even
And
though
that's
he
where-
vetoes it, they're going to change it up and bring it right back to his desk.
And see, and that's where our country has failed. Is we were supposed to have 3 branches of military, or not branches of military, 3 branches of government
right,
to oversee and correct from having too much power. And it's evolved into they're all working in cahoots now, and that's what Trump was trying to stop.
He exposed it.
Yeah.
He exposed it full out.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I thought about Hillary back when, as I was like, okay, she's we all know that if it wasn't for Hillary, that's why Bill married her. Okay. He wouldn't have became president if he didn't have Hillary's knowledge.
Right.
Okay. She ran shit in the background that whole time. All right. Not only the fact she's, oh my God, she shits diamonds. That's how tight her fucking ass. She's a cunt. Oh my God. And, mean bitch. Probably one of the meanest bitches in Washington. And that's what I thought. I was like, I don't like her, but you wouldn't want to be called in her office for something she didn't like. You probably got to get killed,
Yeah. Right.
So that's what I thought about her, and I was like, there's no way Trump would beat her, and it shocked me. I was on that train of, get the fuck out of here. He beat her. Get the fuck out. And then I was like, well, we'll see what shit show happens, and it wasn't a shit show. It wasn't a shit show. It's Trump. You know what I mean? Like, he's who he is. But
well, the thing about it is people always want to talk about, he says mean things. Have you been to New York? New Yorkers are like that. They don't hold their tongue. They say shit off the cuff and don't dial it back at all.
Everybody was kissing Trump's ass until he ran for president.
Yeah,
everybody.
I mean, there was he had won many NAACP awards, and rappers wanted to be him, and and then when he won, the media turned on him, and fucking everybody thinks he's a racist, a misogynist, and everything else.
Don't get me wrong.
Sorry,
he done a lot of fucked up things. He done a lot of fucked up things in the real estate place to New Yorkers, and there were people he didn't pay along the way. There is facts of that, but at the same time, is he a savior to fucking America? No, absolutely not.
Right.
Is there a savior for America? Fuck no. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna?
Right. The American way is not to be saved.
No,
it's to allow everybody to work together.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I've been saying from day one in the music side as well as politics side is we used to be taught united we stand, divided we fall, and now it's all just divide everybody.
Divide. Always deny the election. Always deny the election, no matter what, on both sides.
Well, I mean, it's deny everything.
Yeah, deny, and it's dividing us. You're an American first, period.
Right. Exactly.
And the rest of the world, but we've had our cake a long time, and the rest of the world is tired of it.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, the other thing that I get into conversations with people about is the fact that everybody hates America, but why does everybody want to come here?
Exactly.
You know, it's one thing to have a criticism, and I get that, but when you look at it, we still have the most people wanting to come to this country. If it's so bad, why? Because other countries aren't as good.
Exactly. They don't have the rights, and put that in quotations, that we do. You
Rights
know?
and freedoms and all that, yeah.
Yeah. And right now in 2024, we've been infiltrated. We're
Yeah.
infiltrated. The people that really don't want us to be around in our value systems, they infiltrated, and they're here.
Yeah, socialism and communism got in starting through the education system.
Yep.
And have grown from there. And I've said that from day one is we need to get back to
1984.
yeah, we need to get back to teaching that, you know, consequences have actions. There's you know, equal and opposite reactions, that, you know, debate is not screaming over each other, it's listening and arguing the points that the person is making.
Everybody has a conscience for the most part. You know what's right, you know what's wrong.
Right.
And you got to live by that. You know, like, do unto others as you would yourself. The golden
Right.
rule.
Right.
And there's motherfuckers that they want you dead just because of the fact you don't worship that rock out there or whatever the fuck, you know. And then
Yeah,
they
well,
will martyr themselves for that, you know.
and I have to say, I was taught a different golden rule. The golden rule I was taught was, he who has the gold makes the rule.
Well, there is that, right? But you can't. I mean, there's obviously truth to that,
I
but
know.
but yeah, that's yeah. You don't
Yeah,
want.
I know. It's not supposed to be that way, but that's how it got.
I know that's how it is, and
Hmm.
they've allowed monopolies to occur.
Right.
And
That's the one thing that really
I don't.
pisses me off.
Yeah,
Is we used to have
there.
legislation and judges that would and lawyers that would go after monopolies. Now it's like, well, you can't fight them. Join them.
Exactly. They let them become too powerful. There's people
Right.
out there that are calling them out. There are,
Oh
and
yeah.
I am an optimist. I'm not all doom and gloom. I do
Right.
believe there's more good than bad, and good
Right.
will overcome the bad. But there's going to be a lot of bad, you know, and
Right.
you know, that's just part of it. You got to.
Well, it's like they say, and everything done in the dark will eventually be brought to the light. So
Exactly. Can't have one without the other.
exactly.
You can't have one without the other. You can't just say there's nothing. Well, guess what? If there's nothing, something can't come from nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So the actual definition of nothing is nothing. You can't
Right.
get something out of it. So
Right.
fucking explain that to an atheist. Make
Right.
sure, you know, come on. Like,
Exactly.
answer that.
Exactly.
May not be
And
God.
that's another thing that I loved with growing up in the military is we were always taught that, you know, everybody has a different belief, a different religion,
Yeah.
and to respect everybody for their beliefs and religions, and don't argue about it. But, you know, if you want to talk to people, listen and talk with them.
Right. You can agree to disagree on things. It's okay.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with it. And that's America. And there's no other country in the world that does that.
Right.
You go too far, they will put you on the cross, so to say. You know,
Yeah.
like
That's the funny thing about you. You know this from living in Japan is they have a system similar to ours, but it's different because when somebody goes to do a filibuster in their House or Senate, they have where you can walk up and actually punch the person to stop it and create a fight.
Yep. They do that in a lot of countries, not just Japan.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can look up YouTube videos all day long of people in other parliaments and everything else
Right.
getting in full out fistfights. America, that used to happen with our founding fathers.
Right.
They did that all the time. Bitch, I'll
Yep.
knock that shit off your face. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
get your little tussle on, but nobody was killing each other for the most part. Just we're
Yeah.
gonna
And it's like you know, people have said, including Triple T and Adam and Alpha on the panel tonight, was, you know, it used to be guys would have a disagreement. They'd come at each other, yelling, screaming, fighting, and then once it was all said and done, they'd go have a beer together and be friends.
shake fucking hands, get over it.
Mm-hmm.
You got it out your system.
Yep.
In other words, hey, let's get out the gloves. You guys really want to get at it? Get out the gloves. Let's fucking get
Right.
it over with. You know what I mean? Like, go out to the woods, as we'd say in the military. Go step
Oh,
out in
yeah.
the woods. You know,
Yep.
take care of it. Don't break each other's nose and shit. You know what I mean?
Right. No destruction of military property.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do that. Don't put somebody in a hospital. Go get it out of your system if you're really
Right.
that mad about something. I don't
Right.
ever get to the point of I'll walk the fuck away before I ever really
Right.
like you're gonna have to chase after me before I fucking fight you. You know what I mean? Like I'll walk away. I don't care
See-
how little you are, whatever.
See, with me, I'm basically a pacifist. I let shit go. If people
Yeah.
want to talk about me, they can talk about me.
That's
I don't
fine.
care.
Yeah.
But there's things that I will stand up against, and that's, you know, somebody harming a child, somebody
Exactly.
harming a woman, or somebody harming the
Yes.
elderly.
Absolutely.
If you go after any of those, then, you know, the gloves
I'll
are
go to
off.
jail with a smile on my face.
Exactly.
Because fuck you.
Exactly.
That's what men are supposed to do. We're supposed to protect.
Yep.
You know, that's it.
And you can do or say anything you want to me, but leave those three out of it, and we're fine.
Exactly. Call me a motherfucker all day. It ain't gonna
Mhm.
affect me one bit. I can give a shit less.
Right.
It don't bother me at all.
And not to mention, anytime anybody's ever had a problem with me, I tell them, let's have a conversation about it and talk it out. Because
Absolutely.
I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. Explain to
So
me
am
where
I.
I'm wrong.
Right. Right. We got this magical thing now called Google. It ain't on my mama no more. You can look up
Right.
anything you want. You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
We can get out the facts, you know, and that people have an issue for some reason online. A lot of people online have an issue with saying they're wrong about something, or just, hey, I don't know that. If you don't know
Right.
it, it's okay to say I don't know. You
Right.
know, like
Exactly.
it's like fuck. It's not. But there's people that just, you know, they want to always be right. They want to always whatever. And it's like, no, you know, nobody has all the answers.
Yeah, and then there are people that just want to stir shit, because there's some people out there that just want to watch the world burn.
Absolutely.
And you got to realize when you run into those people, and, you know, understand that nothing you say is going to change their mind. Walk away.
Exactly. Like you you give your 2 cents and go away. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all you can do. That's all you can do with anybody.
And that goes back to also a way I was raised. I was raised that there's 3 things you don't talk about in public because it'll start a fight. And that's politics, religion, or the last party you went to.
Yep.
So those 3 things you didn't talk about in public because it's going to start a fight. If you don't want to start a fight, you don't talk about them.
And back in the day, it was the last thing anybody ever talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You never talked about those things. You just left it. It is what it is. And now it's like the forefront of a conversation.
Yeah, and even if you did talk about it back in those days, it was one of those where people would express their opinion, and you would agree to disagree and go your separate ways.
Absolutely. It was like, okay, well, I don't, all right, believe that. It's all good.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
As long, believe what you want to believe.
As long as you're not hurting somebody else physically.
Yep.
You know, don't hurt anybody physically. You can believe what you want. You can believe in the purple people eater, like I say, fucking whatever. Don't hurt nobody.
Yeah, I've always said everybody needs to believe in something, even if it's I'll have another beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't hurt anybody in the name of it. Ain't no
Exactly.
need. Ain't no need. Everybody, all men and women want is peace and prosperity. I don't think there's
Yep.
a person on this planet that doesn't want that.
Right.
But
And
I don't
what happens behind closed doors is nobody's business but your own.
absolutely. I ain't asking. And why you don't have to
Exactly.
proclaim to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't give
Yep.
a shit. I don't give a shit what you do. You know,
Yep.
as long as it ain't messing with kids or something. You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah. That's where I wish the laws would change, which I don't understand why there's sympathizers out there, but I wish the laws would change where if you have undeniable hardcore evidence that this person raped or did something to a child, you just take them out and hang them in town square. Just
Well, see that's where I differ on that subject than most. I
okay.
think if somebody does those horrible things, killing them is the last thing you want to do.
Okay,
I
why do
think
you think that
I
is?
think I think that torturing them and making them live with that torture over and over again is better than just killing them.
I would think that it sets an example to anybody else that they know that the system isn't fucking around anymore. You know what I
Well,
mean? That
I
this is what
understand. I
happens.
understand the death penalty, but at the same time, like I said, to me, it's more of a deterrent if you realize, oh, this person is a piece of shit, and they're having to constantly go through this hell that is being given to them. I don't want to do that either.
What if it's okay? Let's do the sentence this way to some sick fuck. What if
Hmm.
the judge was able to say, "I sentence you to 25 minutes in a room locked down, and the family can do what they want with you"?
I think that's too short of a time,
Okay, an
but
hour.
but
They
I
can
would
bring what
agree
they
with
want.
that.
They can
Yeah,
bring what they want.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and let the family do it. If they
Yeah,
survive it, then that's the family's decision. You
right.
know?
Hmm. Right. And that like I said, that goes to my point of to me, you know making them have to understand where they went wrong, but going through hell constantly is more of a punishment than death, because death just you're done.
Right. Right.
Making them
Not
in
putting them in
pain.
not putting them in protective custody, just
No,
letting
no,
the
no.
block deal with them. Just put them right in gin pop and tell them what they did
I
and
mean,
let them sort it out.
I mean, the way I see it is the more fitting punishment to somebody that rapes and or molests a child is they should be taken to a public square, tied to something so they can't fight back, break every bone in their body and cut out their tongue
Yeah.
so they can't scream, and then anytime it's starting to heal, go back and re-break every bone in their body.
Yeah. Like I agree with that too. That'd be awesome as well.
Yeah.
That'd be what if
Something like that,
yeah,
instead of
I
death.
forgot
Death
what
is
they
too
called
easy.
that. Well, I forgot what they called that back in the day, where they put your hands and they put that board. They put your hands in the board and your head in the board,
Hmm.
and
Oh
people
yeah.
threw everything at them
Yeah.
or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Bring
they
that
should
back.
bring that back. Bring it
Yep.
back, bitch. That's what you get, and that'd
Hmm.
be fun too, because you'd be like, I'm bored today. You want to go down to the courthouse and fuck with these people?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, you'd have a blast. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Yep.
I hope they didn't break that leg yet, because I'm gonna get it. You know?
Right. But then again, also there's that the same token that if it comes out that somebody shared false witness, they're not dead to go, oops, my bad.
Well, that's what I mean by that. You'd have to have undeniable,
Right.
hardcore evidence.
Yeah, and I
Undeniable.
understand that too. Yeah.
because there are people that have been wrongly convicted. You know what I mean?
Right.
In situations, it does
Right.
happen. We know
Right.
that. So that's why I mean by undeniable,
Right.
motherfucker. This is you on video right now. This
Yeah.
is your DNA. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we know. You know, like fucking.
Right. And it gives me hope that I hear these stories of, people walking in, finding their kid getting molested and them going ham on the person that did it, and then going to, their time in court and everything and being, time served or acquitted or, whatever, because that's just justice. If I walked in and a family member of mine is getting molested, I'm killing the motherfucker
Yeah, that's what I'm
probably because
saying.
I'm going to beat the
Yeah,
hell out of them.
exactly. Like, yeah, like I'd go to jail with a smile on my face and be like,
Yep.
well, this is the rest of my life now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, whatever. But it pissed me off so much being in corrections in the military. And this is a stat that'll probably shock you that, and it's because it shocked me, was when I went into corrections in the military, that 70% of the people that are locked up in military jails had child porn on their computer or it was molestation.
Yep.
70% of the military that were served, that were doing time, that was what it was for. And it's
Right.
like, that shocked me. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Right.
Like, and then the other bad part about it, and it happens in civilianized world too, is these motherfuckers will get a 3-year sentence for it and get out in a year and a half.
Right.
And nothing. You know what I mean? They'll get out. They're probably going to reoffend. More than likely, they're going to reoffend.
My little brother, before he became a trucker, he did work a little bit of civilian corrections,
Right.
and he was trying to help the corrections because he started researching it, and he found that I think it was like 70 to 80% of people that go to jail for a first time offense get out and continue a life of crime.
Correct.
And the jail just teaches them how not to get caught.
Correct.
And the recidivism rate is what he called it, is that high because we're not educating them on how to do things
Better themselves.
without
Or giving them educations while they're
Yeah.
in there. But
Yeah.
the difference is, I worked in military jails.
Mhm.
Okay, these were military prisoners.
Right.
There's in the military prisons, they do have rehabilitation programs. All right,
Right.
like they have those, like
Mhm.
they do everything by the federal book. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like crazy inspections come in, it's clean, all that shit.
Well, the other reason they do that is because the pool for the military is so limited, so they want to try to stop the recidivism rate, and they want it to make people realize, okay, I did wrong, and I don't want to do that
But
again.
what makes me mad? What makes me mad though is like I said, the child molester or the person that's a sicko, and they get this minimum sentence, and you know what I mean? Like I think like they should be castrated at the minimum. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just like, okay, you're castrated now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's your rehabilitation for your nasty fucking perversions. I don't feel you play the victim card to me, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like no.
we need we need you to know that you did wrong and stop yourself from continuing it. So this is your punishment.
Exactly. You know, but as far as the other crimes that are committed or whatnot, now it to heinous. If it's a heinous crime, like you're gonna fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? Like, but if it's shit happens. Somebody fucking. There's people locked up for killing a robber in their house in some states. They were robbed and they killed the robber, and now they're in jail for 6 years. Shit happens. But as far as somebody that rehabilitation occurred, they don't have that anymore. And now we know that all jails are full. They're basically mental hospitals, is what they are. They're nothing but a holding cell, and they give them fucking pills. And then the COs aren't fucking mental health people, and they don't pay their mental health people anything. They've only got 1 or 2 that work in the jail, and they don't pay them shit to go in there and do that.
And I've known people that have told me that they were down on their luck so bad they thought about committing crimes just so that they can go to jail and have,
It's
3
better.
hot meals a day and a cush life
Yeah, it's
because
better.
it's
Better
better
than the
than what they
street.
had on the streets. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, the our justice system is beautiful when it actually works, but there's
Right.
also another side to it that it is just a rabbit hole of we're going to make a profit off of this, and that's where they went wrong. Privatized
Right.
jails, all that
Right.
shit is where they went wrong, and they're not
Yeah.
going to change it because that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they're
I, ca-
not.
I agree with you on that one. Like having heard what the Japanese jails are like, I'm
Yeah,
like,
they don't fuck around,
they
bro.
don't play. Yeah. You get a 3x5 cell that's maybe just big enough for you to have a futon in, and a hole to piss and shit in, and then they feed you 3 times a day, but it's fish heads and rice
Yep.
because the fish head has the water in it that you suck out,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rice is your nourishment, and then they make you do calisthenics and physical fitness throughout the day
Right.
and remind you you're here not because it's a country club, but because you did something wrong.
Exactly. Exactly. And now they've made it to where now I get it, right? Being behind
Hmm.
walls is a the punishment is in itself as you're behind those walls
Uh-huh.
24 hours a day. But at the same time, yeah, they've made a lot of it to where it is almost rainbows and sunshine. And
Yep.
it's like no. They need
Right.
I don't know, you got to find the fine balance in that. And they don't
Right.
the justice system is designed now to where we're going to if you get locked up, we're going to keep you in the system. You'll never get out of the system because they don't
Yeah.
want you out of the system. It's another form of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give people hope or an
Yep.
education to move on to say, hey,
Right.
we're going to teach you welding skills while you're in here. We're going to teach you plumbing skills while you're in here. We're going to teach you electrician skills while you're in here. That way you can go out and actually get a job and progress
Yeah.
in life, actually have a trade. And they don't do that anymore. There are programs like in Florida where they'll send them to a boot camp and
Mm-hmm.
if you get 3 strikes, you're getting 7 years. There is no parole. You're gonna get seven
Right.
fucking years. If you get 3 strikes, you're fucking
Yeah.
done. And they send them through a boot camp process where they get them their GED, they get them an education in a certain craft, and
Right.
they need that. They need to implement that more in America, but they don't want
Right.
that. They don't fucking want that. These billionaire fucks, they just want them to
Well,
be in there.
I think there are other states that are starting to implement things like that, but it is a slow process.
Right. And then to be able to go, hey, we want to pay our people well enough to want to go to work here and to deal with these people because they
Mm-hmm.
don't pay people enough. They don't.
Right.
Like when
Right.
I got out of the army and looked into corrections, dude, working here in Arkansas,
Mm-hmm.
unless you're working a max facility, they'll start you out at 21. But other than that, they'll start you out at $13 a fucking hour working with murderers.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Like, no way am I going to do that. No fucking
Right.
way. And it's the state going, well, that's it. And then they wonder why they're low on fucking manning or security. You know,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know the answer for it. And the people that get up in that chain get so high that they stop caring, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what
And
it'll be broken our entire life.
another funny thing that I hear is there's so many vets that will say, I don't mind going to prison. I was in the military.
Uh,
I
uh,
can hang.
yeah, okay.
But again, with that mentality, because in the military you're told what to do, when to do, and how to do. It's the same thing as prison. You know.
Well, but even though I was in the military working on the other side of the bars, I still got to
Hmm.
go home. I still got to go to restaurants and movies and
True.
shit like that.
True.
They were
There
behind.
is that difference, I know, but
Yeah,
people look at the simplified version.
yeah, it's different when they go, "Oh, we're giving you 10 years."
Hmm.
That's
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I've had dreams, being on the other side of the bars. I don't like
Yeah.
those dreams. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't like those fucking dreams. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, no, because I've worked in there long enough. Man, I'd work stretches in the military. Like, I'd work 21 days straight, get 1 day off, and then work another 30 because they were
Right.
low on manning. And you go into jail. All the difference is you go home and go to bed in your regular bed. You're back you're just like it's almost like being an inmate. You just work on the
Right.
other side of the bars.
Right.
You
But
know,
like you said, you have the difference where you can go to a restaurant, you can go, where
exactly,
you want on your days off or whatever. However, when
exactly.
you're in prison, you don't have that luxury. You
You
have
don't
to
have
be
that
there. You have to stay there.
exactly. And I know because I've worked in it so long is the fact that it's just like anywhere you work. If you've got a uniform on, that inmate is seeing that uniform. He's not seeing you as a fucking individual.
Right.
He's seeing that uniform.
Hi,
And
Dan.
there's people that they have a hard time differentiating that when they're working.
Right.
And it's like,
Yeah.
bro, he's not cussing you out, dude. He's cussing the uniform out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, just fucking chill out. You know?
Right.
Whatever it is, they got
Right.
mad.
Well, to me, that's one of the things with police in general that people don't understand is they have families too. They have a wife and kids too. They're not just being a police officer, and most of them get into it because they want to help others. They're not
99.8% of people that put on that uniform want to help other people.
right.
It's that bad apple that gets in there that ruins the bunch.
Exactly. And that's with everything is, one bad apple ruins a bunch. Whether it be the police, the military, music, fan
Yeah,
bases, what have you. And that's what people need to realize when you're that bad apple, that's what people are seeing.
exactly. That's what
It's a
catches headline
represent.
news.
hmm
That's what
And
they
that's
want.
and it's a representation of the fan base or whatever or whatever job you have or whatever.
They're not going to cover
People are
they're not
seeing.
going to cover the story of the local cop that went out and bought
hmm
6 turkey dinners for the people in the ghetto that day.
Right.
Okay? Like, because that shit happens all the time. And they're not going
Yeah.
to cover that story because that's
Right.
boring, which they need to start covering shit like that more. I want to see happy stories every fucking now and again, and they're hard
Right.
to find.
And it
You
used
know,
to be, in the '80s that they did that. That news
uh-huh.
outlets wanted to push the happy stories, but they saw that only the people only wanted to view the death and destruction and bad shit.
Exactly. What's going to get more views? What's
hmm
going to get the clickbait? In other words,
Right.
violence is always going to get more. But
Right.
fuck, you got to know that there's a balance. There's a lot of good shit that happens out there. That
Right.
cop didn't wake up that morning thinking I'm just going to shoot somebody. And if they were, then yeah, that cop needs to be held accountable for. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it's very few and far between. They don't
Absolutely.
want to. They don't want to fucking write paperwork. I
Nope.
had a buddy that worked security at a casino, and he'd get mad at the local PD around here because they wouldn't arrest a drunk driving off or something. He's like, "Man, these cops don't do shit around here or whatever." I'm like, "Bro, go be a cop then if you want to. If you're bitching about it so much, go be one." And he's like,
hmm
what are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Bro, you don't know how many domestics they responded to on their shift, or a
Right.
murder, or whatever the fuck else is going on. If they told a drunk to leave the parking lot of the casino and they left, dude, that's gold. Like, yeah, go on your way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like,
Yeah.
like,
See,
why?
I live down here in Biloxi, Mississippi. We got casinos, and the thing that I love about our community is they've passed laws that the casinos have to call the cops when a belligerent drunk, well, when somebody that is overly drunk tries to leave the casino, and the cops will stop them in the parking lot, and they'll tell them, "Look, this is private property. As long as you're on this property, I can't arrest you. You get in your car to drive, you're getting arrested and going to jail."
Right.
Because they're trying to stop the drunk drivers and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm talking about the difference of, I mean, obviously, if somebody's falling all over themselves
Mm-hmm.
drunk, they're not going to let them get in the car. But if
Right.
they're just whatever, you know what I mean? Like they were
Yeah.
acting a little bit of an asshole and they're still, the cops around here will be like, look, man, go home. Don't let me see you out again. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like, go the fuck home. Like
Oh
old
yeah. I
school
mean,
used to be.
there was a time here that I had been at a bar having a few drinks, and a friend said that they were going to come out and hang out with me, and they didn't. And I'm not proud of it. I got behind the wheel, but I'd only had like one drink,
Yeah,
so
that's
I was driving to go see where my friend was at his apartment, and I got pulled over because I had swerved.
right.
And the cop was real nice to me. He told me, just be careful. There's kids in the neighborhood, and I'm like, yes, sir. I understand that. I had swerved because I had seen you drive by, and I had reached for something, a cigarette or something that fell, and that's why I swerved. And he's like, okay, I understand that. Just be careful and let me go. And he told me, if I see you on the roads anymore, I'm gonna probably pull you over again. But if you
Right.
go where you're going and you stay there, you're fine.
Right. Like it's your ass. And
Hmm.
I remember like that's the kind of cop you like is the one that go, hey
Oh
man,
yeah,
I'm gonna follow you home. All right,
right.
like where are you? How far away are you? All right, I'm gonna follow you. All right, and fucking
Yeah,
if I see you out, that's your ass, dude. That's
right.
your ass.
And that's something else that gets me about our society today is that people want to vilify cops when they're only out there, doing their job trying to protect and serve. You have good cops like that will tell you, look, wherever you're going, just go and go home. Don't let me catch you out.
Here's the thing, like they all can say they want to defund whatever the fuck, but who are you gonna call if your car gets stolen? Who are you gonna call if your house
Exactly.
gets broke into? Guess what?
Hmm.
The insurance company ain't gonna deal with you without a fucking report. Okay,
Hmm.
so
Exactly.
you you can holler that shit all day, you know what I mean? But it
Yep.
ain't the truth. And people in ghettos
Oh,
want cops the most.
and I remembered where I was going with my point is the way society is today. Everybody wants to, when they get pulled over, shout, "I know my rights! I know my rights!" But that's the quickest way to get a cop to be pissed off at you. If you just listen to what the cop's saying and reply respectfully, 9 times out of 10 they're going to let you go because they don't want to do the paperwork. But when you start yelling, "I know my rights! You can't do this!" Blah blah blah. That's when they're going to go, "Oh, really? Watch me."
Yeah, a fucking YouTube lawyer. That's what I like to
Hmm.
call them. What are
Hmm.
you learned that on YouTube? Okay. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, fuck off. Like, no. Like, you get pulled over as a rule. You shut the car off, put the keys on the dash. If it's dark out, turn your light on in the car, roll all the windows down. That's what I do. If I get
Yep.
pulled over, that's what I
Hands
roll
out
all
the
the windows
window.
down. Yeah. Well, I put them up on the steering wheel. They can see where
Yeah.
they are. But the
Right.
car's off, the light's on, the windows are down. I give them the respect because God, you imagine if you had that job and you walking up on a car, you don't know who these people. Like
Oh
if
yeah.
you got to put yourself in their shoes.
I mean, I got pulled over one time because I was working in a casino and I was driving over to a bar where my brother was working at. And whenever I was driving, I forgot to turn my headlights on. And when I pulled into the bar my brother was working at, the cop had followed me and turned his lights on as I was pulling in. When he came up to my car, he had his gun drawn and was looking in the windows, in the
Yep.
back seats and everything else, and then came up to me and said, sir, you know why I pulled you over?" I was like, "No, sir." "And why do you have your gun drawn?" "I'm not doing anything illegal that I know of." He goes, "You make it a habit of driving without your headlights on at night?" I'm like,
Right.
looked down and realized I didn't have them on. I was like, "Oh shit, no, sir, I'm sorry." He put his gun away and realized that I had made a mistake, and we talked for a minute, and I explained what I was doing and going to do, and he's like, "All right, just be careful. That's how accidents happen without the headlights on and at night."
Yeah, and there's also a lot of factors to it too. Is like
Hmm.
you don't know your car could have fit the description of a stolen car somewhere,
Right.
and it didn't have its headlights on. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yep.
or
Well,
you don't know.
that and at the time, gangbangers were driving without their lights on to flip their lights on and
Yeah,
off to
and
try to
yeah,
get people to pull over to attack them.
to rob them. to fucking rob them. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube these motherfuckers in cities that they'll wait on a highway entrance and they'll pull up in front of you on a highway entrance, stop their car, come out and carjack you on a fucking highway entrance.
Yep.
And yeah, there's a lot. That's why if you don't have concealed carry, you gotta have it. You gotta have it. You gotta have concealed
Well, see, that's why another reason I love living in Mississippi. They passed the open carry,
yeah,
which for most
Arkansas.
places is constitutional carry. But with Mississippi, it just means that you don't have to conceal it. You can wear it openly.
Right, and Arkansas is the same way. We have open and concealed. You don't even have to have a concealed license in Arkansas anymore. You can just do it. You just tell the cop if you get pulled over, "Hey, I have a gun. It's
Yep.
right here,"
Yep.
and then they'll tell you step by step what to do if they tell you anything at all. But you just be honest. "Sir, I know you pulled me over, but I want you to know I have a weapon in the vehicle right now," and that that's it. That's all it takes.
Exactly. And don't be reaching for anything either.
No. You just tell them where it is, and that's it. That's all you do. And it's
Now, a lot of
common
people that I
sense.
know, especially around here, what they do is when they get pulled over before the cop comes to the car, they'll unload it and put it all on the seat and put their hands on the steering wheel or out the window or whatever. And when the cop comes up, they'll say, "Officer, I've got a gun. It's right there on the seat. I'm not gonna reach for anything unless you tell me to. And if I do, this is where I'm going and how I'm going," so that everybody is okay. Because when a cop pulls you over, you don't know what he's dealt with prior to his pulling you over. He could have been involved in a domestic dispute where there was gunshots involved. He could have had somebody try to jump him or what have you. So you got to understand what they're going through too, and that they're on high alert, and make them feel at ease so that they don't do anything rash themselves.
Exactly, because they're human and they got PTSD. They don't deal with police or EMT or firefighters PTSD at all in this country.
No,
they don't, and they've got it. You know what I mean? They all have it.
It's
and they see more than a soldier would ever see.
Oh yeah,
I
know many police officers that said that they go from at one point dealing with a domestic disturbance and de-escalating that situation to responding to a car accident where a child died, and then pull somebody over for speeding. So think about all that the next time you're pulled over by a cop.
Exactly. And then also dealing with a wife at home that's fucking around on them.
No, that too. Yeah.
Like they're human beings. So we're all human.
Even if they don't have a spouse fucking around on them, they go through the same family dramas that everybody else does. You don't know if they've had a family member pass away, or if the wife had been nagging at them about something, and all that. So people are human. You gotta give for that human interaction and give them the benefit of the doubt and try to de-escalate the situation the best you can by cooperating.
Exactly. This human interaction in general is you run into some asshole at the grocery store or something when you don't know what they're going through and you don't know what kind of day or week they've had.
Right.
And you just got to let it go because you don't know.
Right. And Triple T's live is a extreme example of that. When Adam Calhoun came up on the panel, he was heated because of reasons that he stated that he felt that Tim had disrespected him in the past, and when they actually had a conversation and talked it out, they squashed their beef.
There you go. It's like
right.
On the other a channel that I help co-host time to time, The Outer Limits. We fucking react to locale videos or whatnot, or just shit on YouTube. That's it.
Right.
And but these motherfuckers like Durkee Castle or Donald White or whatnot that we're reacting to, like, hate is a strong word. I'd never, it's like I wish that these motherfuckers would change, but they won't, or it doesn't seem that way. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one thing if he ever they could come up on the panel if they wanted to. We'll talk to them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hold you accountable for all the bullshit too that you've done online.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't be online. That's why we react to you.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. I'm all about free speech, but at the same time, I'm also not gonna, let people up that are just out to, porn bomb or troll somebody.
Right.
You gotta actually be wanting to have a conversation.
Right. Like there are channels, I guess, like yours that's what they do. They just have an open panel. Let's just talk. Why the fuck not? And
Exactly.
you're gonna come up and just start being very immature about shit or fucking talking crazy nonsense, then bump, bye. Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
No, thank you.
Right.
Like, I don't know what the fuck. It is what it is. It's YouTube, man. We're on here because we're bored. You know?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, bored of a stream. Well, let's check this out. Oh, they got an open panel. Cool. Talk.
Yep.
And now look, we've passed a good hour. I've passed a good hour, 15 hour, 30 now on here. And it's fucking great. I'm a night shifter.
I've been live for 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And time flies on YouTube. Oh my God. It just does.
and that's the whole reason that I started my podcast up to begin with, is because, like I said, I get bored late at night. I'm a night owl because I have allergies, and daytime the allergies kick, so I sleep during that. So when I'm awake at night,
I'm a vampire. I'm a night shifter, and I fuck the sun, man. Or as a military, we'd call the sun Bob. Fuck Bob. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't. No. I'm not albino. I'm not albino.
Right.
But I mean, like, obviously, like, I'm not fucking albino. But if I fucking take my shirt off at the beach, moths are gonna come at me.
Right. Oh, I mean, I've had times where I've told people, like, my legs are so white because I always wear pants.
Yeah.
That if I wore shorts, I would blind people, or they could read by my legs at night.
Yeah. I'm not trying. Yeah, I don't like, and it's getting summer, and I fucking hate the summer. I'm a winter cat. I don't like summer.
Yeah, see, I'm different. I live on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi because I love the warm weather. I hate cold weather.
Okay. Yeah, and that's when most of the business picks up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you.
Because it is a tourist city.
Right, absolutely. And I don't, man. It's been a minute since I've been to Biloxi. I'm trying to think. The casinos you got up there is Hard Rock is in Biloxi, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got. Let's see. Let me remember. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 casinos in the city.
Right, and they're all on that stretch, right there on the river.
It's around the city, but
right?
yeah, we got Treasure Bay, Beau Rivage. No, it's 8. Beau Rivage, Hard Rock, Golden Nugget, Imperial Palace. Oh no, Palace, Imperial Palace, Boomtown.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's the city north of us that has one that's Scarlet Pearl, and the city on one side of us, Gulfport, that has one that's Island View.
Right. It's been years. It was. I don't know how old I was. It's been years since I've been down there. I know it was when I got back to the States from Okinawa. I went down there on a leave, and I was like, "We'll go to Biloxi for a night or two," and went down there. And I know we ate at it was like a mom and pop catfish spot that was there. It was fucking awesome. Like,
we got some great food places down here.
Right,
because we got the influx of all different cultures, and of, like, we got Vietnamese and Thai and Jamaican and the Creole and all that.
Yeah, it's got a kind of a New Orleans vibe in Biloxi in a way. A little bit.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah. It's because we're like 2 hours from New Orleans or an hour and a half from New Orleans, and we're like an hour to an hour and a half to Mobile, Alabama too.
Right.
So we're right there in between.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a minute since it's been a minute. I go to Tunica more,
Yeah,
but
I feel you.
but fucking Tunica went downhill after that flood that they had years ago. They
Yeah.
never like that closed down the Grand that was there, and that was a beautiful casino.
Well,
And
Hurricane Katrina fucked a lot of shit up too.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, the Gulf Coast is just now starting to look again like the Gulf Coast from Katrina because we had a lot of historical houses and all the casinos and everything that were completely demolished by the hurricane
Yeah,
and
well,
then rebuilt.
This was Tunica, so it was the Mississippi flooded, and
Yeah,
it took
I
out.
remember.
Yeah, it took out most of those casinos like Sam's Town and
Hmm.
the Grand, especially the Grand never came back, and
Hmm.
that kind of sucked. The Grand was awesome because I went down there one time on a fucking Wednesday,
Oh, I
and
forget. We also had the Harris that used to be the Grand, but Harris bought the property.
okay, all right, and but yeah, the Grand in Tunica. I went down there once on a Wednesday,
Hmm.
and I saw Ray Charles fucking 8 months before he died at the
Nice.
Grand on a Wednesday for $40.
Yeah, when I worked at Treasure Bay, I got to meet a couple of artists that came through the buffet. Clarence Carter did the song "The Stroking."
Yeah.
Uh, I got to meet Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
Ah,
We also had Keith Sweat that used to come a lot to that property, but he was an asshole.
huh.
He was full of him. He was full of himself. He came through the buffet to eat, and one of the girls from the back came to the line on the buffet and was like, "Is that Keith Sweat?" I was like, "I don't know." She goes, "I'll go find out." And she walked up and asked him, "Are you Keith Sweat?" And he was like, "If you don't know, you don't need to," and walked off. And she came back fuming. She's like, "I'm going home and burning all of my Keith Sweat albums. He's an asshole."
Yeah, again with the artist thing is it's you don't know what kind of day or week they've had. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like and they go through anything else anybody else would go through.
Right. Clarence
Like
Carter was a trip. He was funny as fuck, blind as hell, but he was funny as fuck.
when I was a kid, I met Ken Griffey Jr. outside
Hmm.
of a fucking game and asked him for his autograph, and he said, "You don't have enough money for my autograph, kid," and walked
Oh
away.
wow.
And I'll never forget that, obviously, but they did lose the game. And, like, you don't know what kind, you don't know what kind of day or week he had,
Right.
but
Right.
he was right there. And I was like, "Hey, Ken, can I have-" He was like, "You don't
Yeah, it
have the
sounds like he
money."
got full of himself from having too much money.
I, I don't know what it was. I don't,
But yeah, I feel you. And
it happens, man,
yeah, exactly. And some of them have a good sense of humor. Like when I met Tretch from Naughty by Nature, he came through the buffet line, and he was getting ready to walk off the line to go eat, and somebody came from the back, saw him, and was like, "Is that Tretch from Naughty by Nature?" I was like, "I don't know." They shouted out, "You down with OPP?" He grinned and looked over his shoulder and went, "You know me," and walked off.
Yeah, I met Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. Watched him play pool.
I had a buddy of mine
Uh,
almost run him over in a golf cart. They did a show here in
oh,
Biloxi, and they were staying at a hotel that a friend of mine was working at, and he was driving a golf cart, and he
yeah.
walked in front of him, and he almost ran him over.
Yeah, it was. So I was lucky though to see Ray Charles at the Grand that one time. And there was the crowd was about half full, and it was in a room that held about, I don't know, maybe 400 people max. And I
Right?
had my own table to myself, like one of those
Hmm.
round uh, booth
Yeah.
tables.
Yep.
And bro, he came out there, man, and played like he was playing at a fucking stadium, dude. He had the whole fucking
Right.
orchestra behind him and everything. And he
That's
played
cool.
for 3 fucking hours, man. Like, and it just was humble and stories and
Yeah.
Lord. I mean, I couldn't have been $40. I was like, Ray Charles is tonight, and the guy was like, yeah, he's tonight, and I'm like, how much? You got tickets? Yeah, they're $40. I said, give me a fucking ticket. I said, I'm not missing Ray Charles. You got me fucked up.
Yeah, when I worked at the Beau Rivage, buddy of mine went ahead and met Twisted coming through the buffet line. And when he met them, they were very gracious with him and talked with him and everything else. And then, like the next day, they shouted him out on their Facebook page, talking about he was a true OG Twisted fan.
Man.
Yeah.
I met Billy Corgan. I met Seven Dust. I met Lamb of God.
Dude, Seven Dust blew me away. I went to a Creed show and Seven Dust opened for them.
Dude,
and I told everybody, Seven Dust put on a hell of a show. They were talented as fuck. And they blew Creed away with the talent. They just didn't have all the spectacle that Creed had at the time.
Bro, they shouldn't have even been on the same stage. You know what I mean? Like Seven Dust, man.
But it was in New Orleans.
Okay.
So,
that's an odd
Dust
combo.
From New Orleans.
That's an odd combo. I met Dimebag. Thank God I met Dimebag. That was cool.
I got another funny story for you. When I was working in the casinos, I was working a late night shift at Beau Rivage, and all of a sudden security come and told people to stay out of the hallway in the back where we walked and everything. And I was like, why? And they're like, you'll see. And he had a police escort. Bill Clinton came walking through, and it was after he was president already, so it was him in his civilian time, but he had all the security and everything walking him through the back to go to the hotel and go up into the room.
Passing through. Passing through Biloxi of all places. I wonder what the fuck he was doing.
Right.
Ain't no telling. I know there's golf courses around there and shit.
Oh yeah. Alice Cooper used to come all the time because of the golf courses.
Yeah, y'all have been getting comedians down there lately that I've been seeing, like, because it shows up on my Facebook and shit, the feed.
Oh yeah. I mean, we keep getting like classic rock concerts and everything else. Like they just had it was Slaughter and somebody Great White did a show together here.
Yeah, I've seen Aaron Lewis come through there a couple times. I seen Ron White come through there.
Yep. I got to see Billy Idol.
Yeah. Y'all get some shit.
That was one of the concerts that I got to see is Billy Idol, and then another one at the casino that I saw was Foreigner.
Yeah. Well, yeah, y'all get some acts in there sometime down there in Biloxi. I mean, you do. Like especially comedians. Like, and I think that's a good thing because if they pay them right, they're gonna come. You know,
yeah.
So it's
when me and my ex-wife were together, we went and saw Jeff Dunham perform at the Palace because she loved Jeff Dunham's comedy.
Right. He's not my cup of tea, but I respect what he does. You know what I mean? Like you can't knock, dude. You can't knock people like the comedy in general. You know what I mean? Like it's that art form. Like if you can fill a stadium, hats off, brother. You know what I mean? Like good for you. And that's anything in any entertainment, whatever. If you can fucking fill a stadium, hats off. But I may not like you, but you're somebody's cup of tea. You know.
Yeah. But then again, also with the casinos, a lot of their venues are smaller, so it's more intimate.
Absolutely.
And it's a more fun show.
Well, yeah, that's what you want with comedy, anyways. For me, I wouldn't go to an arena show. I just wouldn't because it's not the same. Like you want theater.
You also don't see everything.
No. It's completely different.
Unless you're paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars for a front row.
Well, yeah, well, even then, it's in an arena. It's a different show. You want the more intimate. You want a 400 seat room. You know what I mean? Like or
Yep.
something like that. A theater, yeah, I could deal with a theater, but I'm not going to pay those fucking prices for some of these people.
Right.
Chappelle came through fucking Little Rock like 2 years ago, and dude, he wanted $400 for the upper deck. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah. That's
And
like the Eagles had come through during their Hell Freezes Over tour,
right,
and the nosebleed section tickets were going for like $150 a piece, and I was like, "Fuck that bullshit." I like the Eagles, but I ain't paying that to go see them.
George Strait came through Little Rock, charging $700 for nosebleed. $700. George, I
Damn.
love you, but not that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
feel you. I like George Thorogood, but yeah.
no, George Strait. George
Oh,
Strait.
George Strait. My bad. My bad. I got the Georges confused. My bad.
Yeah. Like $700 for nosebleed. You got me fucked up, dude. No way. Like,
I mean,
and that's mostly, that ain't even the artist mostly. That's usually Live Nation that does that shit.
yeah. I think the highest ticket price that I paid for was the Billy Idol and the Yes concert at the casino, because it was like, I think, $80 a pop.
Okay, well that ain't bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. $80.
I mean, Billy Idol might have been 95, but it's reasonable.
Right. There was a Huey Lewis in the News at the Golden Nugget at Tunica was $120.
Right.
And it's like, well, you know, I get it. It's an intimate show. It's not.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
that's the other thing is with the casinos, because it's an intimate show. It's okay to pay a little bit higher for the tickets.
right? Because they're right fucking there. You're not.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
it's a different experience.
It's not thousands and 10,000s of people. It's only like 500, maybe at
Right.
tops.
Like I paid the most I ever paid for concert tickets. I paid $225 for Slayer's last tour, but it was up fucking right behind the pit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I had a seat right behind the pit. They were VIP seats or whatever, and I paid the $225 to see that. I was like, yeah, I'll do that.
I had floor tickets for a concert, and I think it was like $80, but it was floor, and I got to see Hell Yeah, Volbeat, and Five Finger Death Punch all in the same show.
Okay, there you go. And another thing that I do at shows, what I've done the last few years, is I just fucking buy a ticket for wherever. I'm gonna sit where the fuck I want, really. If they tell me to move, I'll move. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I'll just fucking and I'll go sit in the handicap section at an arena. I'll just go down there and sit in the handicap seats because they don't ever sell those. And I tell the people that are working there, I'm like, look, if they come up and say something, I'm like, look, man, if somebody's actually sitting here, I'm not gonna cause a problem. I'll get up and move. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and they're usually cool. They're usually like, all right. And then if they're real cool, I'm like, here, bro. I give them like a $20 bill, so I'm like, just chill out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll move if somebody shows up. Like,
Right.
fuck, because handicap seats are usually some of the best seats in the house. You know what I mean? Like, and nobody's sitting in them. Like, fuck, so buy your upper deck, sit where the fuck you want, unless they're really hound dogging it, which it depends where you are.
And here in Biloxi, the way that their stadium is set up here is they have handicap seats near the floor, but then also up in the balcony too, they have handicap seats.
Right. And it just, it just depends on who's working, how they're running it. But I've never had an issue. They've always been nice. So that's a tip for people if you listen in or ever whatever. Like, just buy your tickets and go sit where the fuck you want. If somebody's sitting there, don't just get up and move. There's other open seats always.
Oh, now, my bad. I misread my ticket wrong.
Yeah, it's like you ain't gonna get. You're not gonna get on the floor. They're gonna look at that ticket. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
They're hounding that. Unless you jump the rail, that's on you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not young no more. I'm not young no more. I ain't jumping no fucking rail.
Right. Me neither.
It ain't happening, bro. I don't go to concerts to mosh or none of that shit. I'm just
Oh yeah, I'm too old for that anymore. When I was younger, yeah, I used to mosh my ass off because I was always one of the taller people there. So I was policing the mosh pit at the same time. If somebody fell, I'd help them up. If somebody was being a bully, I'd bully them back. Because I'm
That's how it's
six,
supposed to work.
yeah. Because
That's
I'm
how it's
six
supposed.
four, and at the time I was 255 pounds. I'm down to like 215 now.
Either way,
Yep,
that's how it's supposed to work. Is like you're supposed to look out for each other. You're
exactly.
supposed to look out for each other. Period.
Yep,
And then just check people when if they need to be checked. And
yep.
that's it.
And there's a couple
Somebody
artists that I regret I missed because they played shows down here before they were big, and I missed it because either I was work or I was broke, either
right?
or. And one of them was Upchurch, and the other one was Hailstorm.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think. The last concert I went to was Slipknot and Killswitch Engage. It was the
Nice.
last show I went to see, and this summer that's coming up. I'm gonna get tickets, man. Fucking Sarah McLachlan's coming through Rogers, Arkansas, and I want to see her.
Cool.
I don't care. Like, she's fucking talented as shit. You know what I
Nice.
mean? Like,
I get you. She's not my
and
cup of tea, but I get you, and I understand.
right, like it's like I don't know, man. Her music, you know how she is. Like she's fucking
Yep.
soothing as shit. And I have said since I was a teenager that she's one of the people. Like if I could smoke a doobie with, I'd want to smoke one with Sarah McLachlan. You know what I mean? Like because I want to get inside of her head and see what the fuck is what's going on because she's
Me personally, I would more prefer to hang out with somebody like oh, I just had her on the tip of my tongue.
Alanis Morissette.
No, I mean, I know off the top of my head, Tori Amos is one I'd love to hang out with, but the other one,
Jewel.
no, it's I can see it. I gotta try to remember.
If you can remember the song, maybe.
Come to my window.
Oh, fucking oh my God, come to my window.
Yeah, right.
Seriously, now I'm having the brain fart. Now I'm with you on the fuck. What is her name?
Right. But even though she's a lesbian, I think she'd be cool to hang out with.
Right. Like, and she was the one that started that Lilith Fair shit back in the '90s or whatever. Like
she was part of it. Yeah,
she was part of it. Her, Sarah McLachlan, Sheryl Crow, or whatnot. I remember that little group. You know what I mean? But that's the thing, though, is that those women, they're fucking artists. They are not what is out today. This what like teenage
there
girls.
are some good female artists out there.
There are, yes, absolutely there are. But man, teenage girls should be looking up to these people. You know what I mean? And not fucking Taylor Swift. You know what the fuck is that shit?
I feel you. Don't get the Swifties all riled up now.
Oh Lord! Oh, I done hit the fucking nail there, huh?
No, I'm not a fan. I'm just saying I know people that are fans.
Absolutely, and they lose their minds like a demonic fucking. You talked about our God. Well, it's like God, just Taylor, you're 30-something years old. Why don't you write 30-something-year-old music?
Right, but another group that I highly recommend anybody seeing if they get a chance is Zac Brown Band. Even though they're country, they don't just play country.
Yeah, I know they'll play covers and shit. Man, look, I'm not. Zac Brown is not my deal. I like Chicken Fried. Who don't like Chicken Fried? You know what I mean?
All right. I mean, I'm a fan of their music, but I understand that they're not everybody's cup of tea. But like I said, they put on a phenomenal live show.
Right. Like, I'm excited that though Sturgill Simpson's coming out of the woodwork this year. He's he's doing a couple shows, and it's like, all right, it's about time, Sturgill, because he went into hiding there for a minute, and I don't blame him.
There's a lady that's part of Alpha Tyler's community that's a huge Sturgill Simpson fan. Her name is Tater Monkey.
Okay. Now Sturgill is a man. He's a unique character, to say the least.
Yep.
You know, like, and he does a variety of fucking music too. He ain't just, motherfucker can sing a country song, or he can rock you if he wants to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But god damn, he's got some good songs. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of like, I'm going to Sarah McLachlan. I don't give a shit. There's going to be some blue hair, purple hair, fucking whatever you want to call them these days, fucking saying my pronoun shit that are going to be in that crowd. But I'm going to go in there and I'm going to wear my Pantera shirt and I'm going to go watch Sarah McLachlan.
Now, see, what you really want to do, really to piss off with the fans, is wear a PETA shirt that says, people for eating tasty animals, whatever that shirt was.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Or fuck the ASPCA.
Right?
Good, but that's Sarah McLachlan's group, you know.
Yep.
And oh, but as far as I've heard her in interviews and all this shit, and she just kind of goes with the flow. You know, she doesn't really. She'll stand for some things, other things she'll just like leave it alone because it's best to leave alone. You know,
Right.
but
Okay.
as far as her art goes and some of her songs, a lot of her songs are just, I don't know, they resonate with me. You know, I'm just like, all right, like fucking A. And I'm never gonna get another chance to see her live. I know that.
Right.
Like, what are the odds of her coming through fucking Arkansas again? Fucking
Right.
0.
And for the 4 viewers that are watching without saying anything in the chat, see, this is what it's all about, is you can like artists and not like artists and still get along.
Absolutely. Fucking come on. It's okay to have an opinion. You can say fuck that band, but why get all up in your real feelings about it? It's not
Right.
It's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Yeah, I love music in general, and I like Akal's music. I like Adam's music, or Mises' music. I like Upchurch's music. I like Struggle's music. Some other artists aren't for me, but that's no slight against them. It's just I'm not a big fan.
Right.
I even like some of Tom McDonald's old stuff.
Look, if it resonates with you, if it hits that nerve, that's what matters. That's what matters. If you're like, ooh, I feel that. All right, that's what it's about.
And that's kind of a funny thing with independent artists is I'm always finding old songs by independent artists that I resonate with, and whenever I bring it up to them, they're like, "Oh man, that I did that song and I didn't know anything about music, and it was one of my first songs, and it sucks." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's the song I like by you. Get over it."
Right? Exactly. And I saw an article recently, like on the Chili Peppers, that, and I'm not a big Chili Peppers fan. They have good songs. They've got a few good songs, all right. But at the same time, this tour that they're going on, they're not playing any of their hits at all. They're just playing their new album. And I wish that's not good, in my opinion. Like, what are you fucking doing, bro? Like, you're a fucking legendary band. Like, Billy Corgan used to do that with the Smashing Pumpkins, like, before he got over being a prick.
Yeah.
And you can't, you have to, we're going to play, we're tired of playing these songs, but we know that that's what made us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And if you're touring for a new album, it's one thing to go, okay, this is about the new album, and we're playing all the songs.
Right.
But also, you got to take some time and hit some of the greatest hits too.
That's what you're there for, right? As a fan, like,
yeah. I mean, you want to hear the new stuff, but yeah, you also want to hear it mixed up with some of the older stuff too.
Absolutely, and plus that's been part of concerts from the dawn of time. Is you go to a show, you're like, fuck yeah, this kicks ass, and then the band goes, all right, we're gonna play one off the new record, and then you go get a beer.
or you hear the new song and go, oh, that makes me want to buy the album.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. I'm gonna check that fucking out. I like that.
Yep.
but it you know, it's typically you can't do that. Not when you're a band like that. Billy Corgan came to realize that after years, and the last few
Right.
tours he's been on, he was like, "Yeah, we break out all of it." You know what I mean? Because he's like,
Right.
it's ultimately for the people. It's not for us. We used to be arrogant and be like, "Look, we're just gonna play this or that." He's like, "No, bro, it's about them." You know what I mean?
Well,
And
that's what I loved about Billy Idol. Billy Idol had an album out when he was touring, and I saw him, but he only would play one or two or three songs off the new album because he knew the
absolutely.
fans were there to hear the classics.
Absolutely. When I saw Deftones the first time on
Mm-hmm.
their White Pony tour, all right,
Mm-hmm.
bro, it was the most. To this day, it's been the best opening of a fucking band ever in my history of going to shows. He came out on that tour. They had the White Pony flag up in front of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped the flag. Well, usually they drop the flag, the band bust out into the song, whatever it is, right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
happens. Not
Right.
this time. The only time I've ever seen it happen. They dropped the flag, no music. No music. People hollering,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. They walk out on stage. Chino on the mic. He says, "Hey, what's up, y'all?" He's like, "We're going to let you know right now. We got a song out on those radio waves called Changes in the House of Flies. I don't know if y'all know," and everybody's losing their minds, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "We're going to go ahead and play that fucking song so that all you fuckers, that's the only song you know, can leave. And we're going to get to our real shit for the fans." And I was like, woo! You know what I mean? Like, it was on. Like, they played that
Right.
song first, and then he was like, "All right, if that's all you know, you can fucking leave now. Fucking bye."
Well, that's like
Which,
whenever I was telling you with Seven Dust is one of the things that I loved about their show was they did the fan favorite songs, and when they went into the guitar solo,
right?
everybody left the stage. The guitarist did his solo, and whenever he went to break back into it, he started with "Sweet Home Alabama," and they did a couple lines from that as the lead singer was walking out singing, and then as he got halfway down the ramp into the audience, they broke into "Walk" by Pantera,
Yeah.
and they
Hmm.
played that. It was awesome.
Right. Just having some fun,
Oh
some
yeah.
goofs. Yeah, that
Oh, I
fucking
remember the other band that I saw when I was in Japan is Ozzy Osbourne for his No Rest for the Wicked tour, the first tour that Zach Wilde was with him.
wow. Wow. I bet that was crazy, dude.
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh my
Fucking
god.
Zach Wilde had so much energy back
Who was
then. He
with
was
him? Who was with him in Japan, bro? Because you didn't just see Ozzy. Somebody was
no,
badass with that motherfucker.
no. It was Ozzy by himself. There was an
Oh,
opening act that I don't even remember
oh my
because I
god.
didn't know them, but it was just Ozzy.
Whoa.
Because, like I said, it was for the No Rest for the Wicked tour. They did a lot of songs off of that, but he also played a lot of stuff from
Black
from his old
Sabbath.
catalog. From his old catalog.
Yeah, and Black Sabbath. Bro,
I mean, they only did a couple of songs by Sabbath, and that was mainly because Geezer was on the bass
okay.
playing with them. But yeah,
Damn.
and Geezer Butler, that man, I
Yeah,
watched this man play his bass with only two strings.
yeah, yeah.
The whole concert, he only had two strings strung on his bass.
Damn.
I don't know if he popped them during one song and just never did anything or what, but he was only playing two strings the whole time on his bass.
That's interesting.
And that's talent right there.
I
To
saw
be
the
able to
Prince.
make those songs sound good still.
I saw the Prince of Darkness in Tacoma. Thankfully, I saw him in Tacoma Dome while I was stationed there. I was like, I'm not missing Ozzy because I'd never seen him live, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no fucking way I'm missing Ozzy. You know, what I mean? Like, I went to it. Great fucking time. Slash opened up for him. Fucking Slash had a band, and it is what it is. But then Ozzy played for fucking 2.5, almost 3 hours, bro.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
that
played.
Ozzy show was almost a 4 hour show.
Yeah, dude, he played fucking everything, man. It was
Mm-hmm.
awesome as fuck, dude. And I'm so glad I got to see that because obviously he's never I mean, you never say never, but he won't get on stage to sit in a chair, man. He doesn't
Right.
set it. He's like, I won't sit in a chair. And it's like, Ozzy, bro, nobody cares, dude. Like, you still got it, man. And
Right.
and I've seen a few documentaries. There's one documentary where they did show, they always show him before he goes up on stage at some point. But Ozzy actually asks more often than not before he gets on stage if anybody showed up for the show. And that lets you
Yeah.
know how humble that guy is, dude.
Oh yeah.
To this day, yeah, is anybody here? You're fucking Ozzy. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Now,
Like,
when I saw Metallica, it was for Justice for All, and it was in the Egg Bowl in Tokyo, and that was a huge place, but it still was a great show.
yeah, like I bought on YouTube Baby Metal's performance in Tokyo Dome, and one of them, anyways. I don't know what is it.
Yeah.
Bro, that crowd is like,
Oh yeah.
holy shit, man!
Yeah.
Like,
Now, the one show that I saw that I regret that I got shit-faced drunk because I only remember like 3 songs into the concert before blacking out was Cinderella during their Long Cold Winter tour. It was in Tachikawa at like a concert hall, so it was a real intimate setting.
right?
And we were in balcony seats, and when they started playing, everybody ran down to the railings except me. I stayed at, with our seats, making sure nobody snagged our alcohol that we brought.
Right.
And I got shit-faced and blacked out and woke up in the bathroom an hour after the concert. An
Yeah.
hour after the concert was over, with a friend that was in the Navy that I'd met in line, shoving his fingers down my throat, yelling at me to puke.
Oh.
And once I was a little bit coherent after puking, he was like, "Can you stand?" I was like, "I think so." I got up. He had his arm around me. He started walking me out to take me to the train station. And as we walked out of the bathroom, a security guard ran up yelling. And he's like, "Come on, we got to go. We got to go." And I was like, "All right." So we started hightailing it out. And when we got to the train station, he went to put me on the train. And I was like, "What was that guy yelling?" He's like, he was threatening to call the cops because he did over $4,000 worth of damage to the concert hall. You need to get out of here, get back to your base, and don't say a fucking word. I'm like, all right. So I got home. I passed out. The next day, I met up with all the people that, from school that I went to the concert with, and asked them what I did. And they all shook their head and said, "You're never drinking with us again."
Oh, wow.
That's all I know of what happened, other than a
Wow.
vague memory of while I was standing with the booze and everybody's along the railing, I was hawking loogies and spitting over the railing and hitting one of the guys that I knew in the back of the head. And every time he would turn around, I would turn around looking like, what? Like, it came from behind me.
The only time that I ever spit at anybody at a concert, but it was kind of like going on with Slipknot's Iowa tour, and he did spit it out, and I was spitting on motherfuckers, and I didn't give a shit. Everybody was spitting. I don't know.
And don't get me wrong, I wasn't spitting at him. I was spitting over trying to spit over everybody because I was having phlegm and I was drunk. But I just happened to hit him in the back of the head, and like I said, I played it off every time that he would turn around. I would turn around looking like it came from behind me.
My drunkest had been putting even a concert. It was just a club show, but it was a year after. It was a celebratory year after Dimebag got shot on stage down in Houston, Texas, and it was a club show, and a lot of the local bands they did Pantera night. They were playing Pantera fucking all night. And because they all knew them because they're Texas,
Right.
they're from Dallas area, but they all knew, there were people in there that knew them and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I started drinking those Blacktooth Grins, Seagram 7, fucking Crown Royal and Coke, and I went to the bathroom to piss, stand there. All it was a toilet and a urinal, and they had the whatever, the stall didn't even have a door. It was just a stall. And I pissed, and when I was pissing, the fucking room went upside down all of a sudden. And I was like, I can't fucking move. I can't walk right now. So I leaned against the fucking stall and looking at the door going out, and I'm thinking clearly, but my body won't do what I want it to do. Right. And I'm like, people walk in, and they're like, "You all right, bro?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go get my buddy Jeff. Go find Jeff." And they're like, "All right." And then they leave, and I'm just standing there. I'm like, God, I hope they find this dude. I hope they find him. It seemed like I was there forever. You know, well, here comes fucking Jeff. You all right, bro? I'm like, I need out the car, bro. All right. Get my arms around him, do our walk through the club, out to the truck. Get in the truck, and he goes, "Don't puke in my fucking truck, bro." I'm like, "I'm not going to puke, man. I don't know what's going on. I'm just fucking, you know." And he's like, "Just don't puke, open the door." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm telling you, I'm okay, other than I can't really walk right now." And then he goes, "Oh, by the way, your fucking pecker's hanging out." And, dude, so I never zipped up my pants, man, and they walked me through the whole club with my dick hanging out, got me all the way to the truck. Then he decides to tell me last minute my dick's out. I'm like, God, that's friendship right there. You know?
Oh, and by the way, a caveat with my Cinderella story: I had been drinking from the time I got out of school until the concert. Every hard liquor I could find, and it was like a 4-hour period on an empty stomach.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yep.
I was really drunk at the Ozzy show. I was drunk and obnoxious. But then I ended up drinking myself kind of sober. So that's why I was able. That's how I was able. Yeah, that's how I was like. I was able to survive the whole show. My buddy was unfortunate; he did not survive the whole show. He puked. He puked in the bleachers. Like, I mean, just fucking railed. And then he's like, "Bro, give me the keys of the car." I'm like, "Are you sure you can find the car right now?" And he's like,
and talking, I just remembered another story of a band that I met that's from down here before they were famous that were assholes.
Oh, yeah?
And that was Three Doors Down.
Okay.
Right when they released Kryptonite on the radio, they came into a casino bar that I hung out in, and I was sitting at the bar bullshitting with the bartender because I knew him, and one of the radio DJs that was local came up and was like, "Can we get security? We don't need the band being hassled." I'm like, looked around, and was there 4 people in the bar besides the band? I'm like they're gonna get hassled and laugh.
Right. Fucking Amy Lee from Evanescence. The Evanescence used to fucking jam in the Donahue building in Little Rock on the 13th floor. They used to rent out. It's an old hospital, but they used to rent out. Somebody bought the 13th floor, and they had like a studio area in there and a bunch of rooms that they'd rent out to bands or whatever the fuck. And my buddy's band, they rented out a room up there to have a jam room. Well, Evanescence was one of the bands on that floor before they were ever fucking famous. And I remember we'd go down there, they'd come down and whatever, they'd listen to each other's shit every now and again, you know? Well, Bring Me to Life, all right, comes out or whatever. And they're gone, all right? Like, they're not in the building anymore. It's been a minute, but they go on the Daredevil soundtrack with Bring Me to Life. And it blew the fuck up. Well, that New Year's Eve that it blew the fuck up, they played their last show in Little Rock at a club. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll go up there and give her congratulations or whatnot. And she gave me a hug and said, "Hey," and whatever. But she also acted like, well, I don't fucking know any. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you fucking bitch. You know what I mean? Like, you nerdy rich bitch. Like, they'd come down, you know. We didn't necessarily care for their shit that much. I mean, it was okay. Like, obviously, she's got a lot of fucking talent. She's got a voice. You know what I mean? Right. But they were just it. But why are you going to be a bitch like that? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Come on. Like, that's an asshole that turned into making after famous that I knew. That wasn't at all.
Right.
And then I met Fear Factory. They're older. They got a new singer now. But the other singer they had, I met them. everybody in the band was cool except their fucking singer. He was a prick. That dude
Right.
was a prick. I was like, you got to be fucking shitting me, dude. What do you think your shit don't stink? You actually kind of suck.
I
You
feel
know, like it's like you got good band members, but
Yeah.
you fucking suck, bro.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to end up closing it out.
That'll work. That'll work. Obviously, bullshit a while. Thanks
Right.
for helping me pass my night shift, bro. That's
Not
cool
a problem. I appreciate you.
I'll see
Been
you
live
back around
almost
on
4
the
hours, so
yeah. I'll
it's
see
a
you
good-
back around on the YouTube streets, bro.
Yep. Have a good one.
All
I
right, man.
appreciate everybody that stopped by and everybody that is here, and I'll see y'all later. Have a good one.